There was bloodshed, there is bloodshed, and there will be bloodshed every week until the end of time. The wheel will keep turning and crushing the weak under its axle until God himself comes down and ends the cycle. And that's exactly what's going to happen today, like always. So we're just going to jump right into exactly what I supposedly am sweeping for before I even talked about it, which is, last week I did almost 2 hours of Josh coverage, going over the whole thread, going over everything, his mismanagement of the moderation of the forum, his failure to set consistent rules, and his constant association with idiots who make every cause that would otherwise be justified or righteous that he's involved in look bad. And here we are. And, he's started this 501c3 charity, the Internet Preservation Society, which is a cause that almost pretty much everybody in the sector should be behind, right? Everybody in this in the sector has been deplatformed. I talked about it in the Ethan Hassan stream about how, ironically, it kind of made people stronger because it made them better at fighting with each other. It made them hone their arguments, and it made them build their own infrastructure. But that's kind of just in hindsight. Overall, it's obviously was a bad thing. And so everyone should be behind this cause. And then you have to go and associate it with shit like this. You have to basically tie your crusade against debanking, which is a real problem, and internet censorship to some debate about whether we should get rid of bankers or lolicons. Are you serious, man? This is the guy with the show to text. There's this narrative that I talked about with Josh where, the text, all the cringe shit is from when he was, I thought it was when he was 14. I was corrected on that. Some of it's from when he was as old as 20 years old. But he's entering his third decade and he's figuring it out and everything. And then it's like, no, this is like a straight up Roblox or Blockland type tweet that you'd make. It's like, nobody asked whether we want to pick lolicons or bankers. Why do we have to compromise with evil? Why do we even have to hypothetically compromise with evil? And it's like, no wonder you get stuff like this, mask off, calling him a pedo and everything. Like, can you really blame people? And there is a segment of people who are like vitriolic haters of Josh to the point where they will oppose some of the otherwise good causes that, let's be real, Josh didn't invent the idea of fighting against internet censorship. He didn't invent fighting against debanking and stuff. He just happens to be a big victim of it, and so therefore has adopted those positions and sort of through his own self-preservation has to fight against them. And whatever, that's fine. But why do we have to associate it with this? And so what this basically is this is him complaining about debanking. Sure, cool. That's a real problem. That's fine. If they can even debank someone like Kanye West, like a literal billionaire, then that's how how big of a problem it is. And so I guess because this person criticizes who he's quote cheating as like a lolicon, degenerate lolicon lolcow. I don't know anything about this person. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to assume it is because they have this is a sus profile pic. Basically, intuition says it's true, but I don't know. Rather than just responding to this with fuck everybody, fuck him and fuck this cause that I'm supporting. No, instead we have to fight this hypo about whether we want 10 million lolicons or debanking. This is some William F. Buckley National Review type shit where you take you moderate and you take a movement that should be hyper focused on certain very specific principles, and then you mash it with the craziest shit possible to discredit it. It's like controlled opposition. Again, I don't think that Josh is a Fed, but this is if I was an agent, if I was his handler, and I was like, okay, buddy, I need you to discredit the idea of debanking, bank deplatforming. This is the sort of tweet I'd have him send out. And this is I think it's completely righteous to be criticizing this. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of, and the funny thing is, all it would take for him is on Maddie or something to be this was retarded and admit fault. But he's not going to. He's totally not going to. I guarantee you that this is what's going to happen. He's going to, right hand to God, the next time he goes live, whenever the next Maddie is, I don't even know what the schedule is anymore because it's been years since I've watched it. But whenever he goes live again, he is going to have a 20-year-old on Blockland tier melty about how I made this tweet and everybody shat on me and called me a pedophile because I said I want 10 million lowly content. I just fuck it. I don't care. That's why I'm having a melty for 40 minutes about it on my podcast because I don't know what else to talk about. That's what's going to happen. Something of that nature is going to occur. And he'll be like, it's the oppositional defiance disorder. No, it's just being stupid. If he was just a little bit more self-aware to understand what his strengths and weaknesses are, he would have made this 501c3 charity, and then he would have put someone else in charge of it. He would have put someone else to be the face of it that's not him. Because, and he seems to acknowledge that sometimes when he says that, I don't want Kiwi Farms to be the face of this stuff because it's, controversial. But then he does it anyway. And it's really? You couldn't find anyone? Is it that you can't find anyone or you can't work with anyone? He's just not going to talk about it? I don't think so, man. That's what he should do. If we're talking strategically, not what I would want. Obviously, what I would want is a complete apology and retraction. But if we're just thinking lizard brain about this, that would be the smart thing, is to not talk about it. But he will, because he does it all the time. Do you know how much of Maddie is dedicated to him complaining about feedback? About complaining about what they talk about in the thread, or people criticizing the show? Or even good-natured criticism, or stuff about the forum. It's almost like Idubbbz, when Idubbbz is your podcast is just a vent. That's not what podcasts are. That's kind of what Joshua does on Maddie. It's just vent. And he's been doing that since the earliest episodes, is venting about the forum. And there are times when that can be entertaining. It's obviously not smart, but it can be entertaining. But I guarantee you he'll do that because he's going to get massive backlash to this. I guarantee it. And I wouldn't be surprised if people try to post it in his thread, this tweet, and be basically say it's stupid. And he come in and get into some big blow up with them. And it's just always what happens, right? Is there's no clarity on the rules. He has one bad night where he gets grumpy and then alienates someone who's been on the site for 10 years for criticizing something that's completely justified to criticize about. So yeah, I mean, this is disgusting, and you are hurting a movement. You are hurting advocacy for a real issue, which is debanking and internet censorship, when you associate it. And it's not this isn't even a case of he just randomly tweeted this. This is a case, well, he already repeated the statement. Well, that must have been today. And his fans didn't care. Well, that's the thing, man, is I talked about this during the Josh stream. There's a difference between the Maddie fans and the users of Kiwi Farms. There is a cultural cleavage there. And I know for a fact that the people on Kiwi Farms aren't going to like this. So that's why I say, I bet you someone's going to screenshot this tweet and post it in his thread. And then be what the fuck, man? And then there'll be some kind of blow up. And then maybe the next show he'll whine about it. It's crazy that the fans, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that the fans don't care. It's very, very weird and parasocial. I'm just, we could get into a whole discussion about how you would even cope for this to make sense, right? Where you're well, you see, the banks are the ones funding pedophilia acceptance. So if we got to get rid of that. Dude, if you're already going down that rabbit hole seriously, it's fuck you. No. Again, why can't we just call a spade a spade? Why can't we just say, we don't have to make this choice? You are inventing this dichotomy. No one was asking you to ally with this chibi reviews guy. All you did was quote tweet him and comment on what he wrote. That's it. You don't have to do this. And it's for running probably a website that has the most scrutiny on it, despite its size, you'd think that we'd learn. You'd think that there'd be some kind of lesson to be learned about what you associate with, what you put next to each other. And what I was talking about before I responded to that comment was, this isn't just a random thread. This isn't just him saying something stupid in a reply to something unrelated. This is him directly tweeting about the cause for which his charity is working with. So he is directly putting these next to each other. And it's just low IQ behavior. It's low IQ, low class behavior. And I don't know, anyone coping about this and saying that, like, anyone who tries to engage you in some kind of 40-minute, like 6 trillion IQ argument about why actually, it depends. We have to get rid of this guy's for like, or something like that. It's just, it's bullshit. You shouldn't even engage in that. Shouldn't even, it's like a false, it's a trap, essentially. It's like a false dichotomy. You're making us make a choice where we don't have to. So, yeah, I'm not like there's no cope. There's no cope for this. This is just like, you know, people are calling you a pedophile all the time, and then you tweet something like this. In association with like an actual cause. It's just ridiculous. And he deserves criticism for it. And I'm not going to get mad. People calling him out for it is completely right. Specifically, he says 10 million. It's going to be a no clear. I know. It's not even like, well, I'd accept this one guy. It's like 10 million. Really? You know, and you can find old Maddie clips where he talks mad shit about the Fediverse node post, which I also don't like, to be clear, because they allowed Lolicon and how bad they were and how he doesn't want to be associated with them. Of course, he was still associated with them because the Kiwi Farms Fediverse node, I think, at least for a time, were federated with each other or something like that. I think that fell apart eventually, and he cited the Lolicon thing as a reason why. And then we have this. It's like, okay, well, apparently, as long as that Fediverse node was with you on debanking, why not LA with him? Why not bring on Zoom, Josh? I bet you know. Why don't you get Zoom to say that he disavows debanking and internet deplatforming, and then bring him on, right? You don't care. 10 million. You'd accept 10 million Zooms. All right. Start the timer now for us going through the Kino Casino slate, and we'll see if I can finish it before they get past the beg segment. So here's the trailer, because we're doing Anissa and Idubbbz first.
Ian Joma used to be a respected comedian. He had a well-to-do YouTube channel, and he didn't take shit from anyone.
Fuck you.
Until one day, he met Anissa, who didn't have any talent.
There's nothing worse than a slut who's ugly.
And all of a sudden, he became the cuck.
I did this, and I am so glad I did.
He's about to find out just how far a cuck can fall.
Aw, that shit's hard.
This summer, Ian Joma goes for broke. Get it? 'Cause he's feckin' broke. In the cuck. Rated Who Gives a Fuck. Quit giving these people attention.
It's really hard.
So yeah, somehow Idubbbz has found a way to associate himself even closer with terrorists, or at least with, you know, I've already talked about my issue with the term terrorist, but with violent Tuscan raiders 2,000 miles away from his porch. And basically the keystone of this segment is going to be, he goes on Noah Samsen, who, like I said before, I didn't even know existed until this week, because I don't follow like any of these leftist guys, but Noah Samsen, who's got like the symbol of bipolar schizophrenia as his hair dye, has him on the show where Idubbbz decides to basically say all the worst things he possibly can in relation to the third internet intifada and Ethan. And this was last night. And it made me glad that last stream I talked about how there was this stuff going on where Bad Empanada did this like 3-hour cope, or 3-hour, wasn't really a cope. If anything, it was Hassan coping. 3-hour struggle session against Hassan, making him basically fall to his feet because Hassan like needs allies as much as possible right now, right? And I'm glad that I didn't go through and clip all that, because this basically is just the sum up to that arc as that entire side falls apart. And of course, there was a attack yesterday where 2 Messianic Jews, everyone seems to not be talking about that, but these were Jews who believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, which take that as you will, but it's interesting that that's not the part of it being focused on. Anyway, two Messianic Jews got shot, and the guy who did it said Free Palestine and basically is a Hassan fan. And the ADL itself is calling out Hassan. And it's just, it's so funny because in this segment, Idubbbz is going to say that he thinks the skulls getting sent was merely humorous. And it's like, Can we like look at the list of all the people who have like called out the CPS call against Ethan and the skulls and stuff? Because it's like it's the most diverse coalition possible. It's like Nazis, far like liberals, Christians, Jews, Hitler, Darth Vader, Voldemort, the guy in the Count of Monte Cristo right before he's about to kill an infant. All these guys are united in their support, or saying that like the CPS call was a step too far, and Ian, his friend of 10 years, couldn't even do that. So here, we just got a couple here, little classics from Anissa before we get to the clip. I keep hyping myself up to get my nipples pierced and then putting it off because I'm terrified I'll be one of those unlucky souls that has their piercings never heal. Yeah, great. So just she's running out of space on her body to like draw pre-algebra doodles on. So now we're going into the piercing arc, and you may think, well, what about shaving her head? That would be on the list, right? Well, she already did that. That's already been done. So that frontier has been passed. Okay, so. This is the specific clip I was talking about from the larger thing. I have this pulled up because this F slur is still streaming, and he's on there for an hour. I'm not going to watch all of it because it's just not necessary. I'm sure Kino Casino will spend 5 hours on it, but it's just not necessary. Here is the actual run. This is the lead. Let me get the sound mixing on this right.
One last question. Did you send the skulls? What is your opinion on the skulls, and did you send them?
Look at this. Why does he have a gold tooth? Does he think this makes him look good? I know that like Anissa has said before that his style is like trashy, white trash or whatever, which I don't know why I guess it's because he's just returning to Monkey because he's a single mother, product for single mother. So he's just like, I have to return to Monkey. But why would you get this if you don't have to? Like, this is like black rapper stuff. How can you be a cuck with a gold tooth?
I didn't send the skulls.
Amazing. I hate to say it because obviously sending the skulls is bad, but like Ian doesn't have the balls to send the skulls. Like, he is not cool enough to have sent the skulls. And sending the skulls isn't cool, but that's just how uncool he is.
I don't know. I thought the skulls thing was kind of humorous to hear that.
Okay, humorous. Sorry I don't have this already pulled up. I know I say this every stream about... But I want to point this out again. So, the right-wing sector has already gone through the full Herman Kahn escalation chart. All 44 steps. That's why, like, with Ralph and stuff, the immediate thing is to call someone a pedophile and say we should call their work, right? Whereas the left is going through it now way later because they've basically been coddled up until now. And so, when we have the 44 steps, I just want to, like, point one thing out here about what essentially Ian just did. Because I don't think people realize just how bad him saying that is. And, him already not like calling out the CPS call was bad because it invites a response, which is what happened when Hassan was detained at the border. Okay. And now we have people shooting each other in real life and it being associated with Hassan. So him saying that the skull getting called as humorous is like if you were to be, where is it? We're at, I'd say we are at, we're not quite there. We're at local nuclear war. So, someone drops a tactical nuke on Ethan Klein's military formation. Imagine if the president of this, or not the president, because Ian's not the president, but like the Department of Agriculture, like something completely came out and said,
I don't know. I thought the skulls thing was kind of humorous.
I thought the tactical nuke was kind of humorous. It's like, what do you think the response to that is going to be? What do you think you're telling people?
To hear that. Especially when I heard that they were like from skulls.com or some shit like that. That made it funny.
Yeah. Just a death threat to a father.
I like how he even... Mr. Bipolar Hair even is like, yeah, it's just a death threat.
A family.
Yeah, was it a death threat?
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no. Skulls.com with the serial number still attached and the
Yeah.
packaging still on it.
To be honest, I didn't know anything about it because I think it was
It's humorous now. I don't even know. I don't. It's like Nuremberg, changing your position at Nuremberg.
linked to as like was it a response to my content com? Or was that
No, it was
before?
before.
I don't even remember.
It was before. They didn't talk about it till after.
Do you think
But
he
yeah,
sent the skulls
I mean,
himself?
I don't.
It's a false flag. Oh, I love how convergent these guys are with the sector, where it's just like anything involving a high elf. It's a false flag. The ADL is controlling the government. Like,
Let's put it this way: I don't endorse sending skulls to anyone's houses.
I don't endorse it. I just think it's humorous. I wonder what people, again, I'm not saying do this. I'm just saying this is what I think is going to happen. When you say local nuclear war is humorous, I think someone else is going to try to find another funnier joke and then point it back at you. You know, maybe exemplary attacks on population, maybe unmodified counterforce attack, maybe civilian devastation attack. Maybe that's what people are going to find humorous. And when you complain about it and you go on your podcast that's behind a Patreon and you say, oh, people are harassing us by because they say all criticism is harassment basically, and they complain about it, what people are going to say is they're going to throw this clip at him and say, I thought it was humorous. I thought it wasn't a death threat or whatever. And this is how the escalation chart works, right? This is where you go. I said before that the CPS call was civilian devastation attack. That was me exaggerating. Honestly, it was more like I said, local nuclear war. But it's only going to get worse. And what's funny too is most of the counterforce attacks, again after the CPS call, have been directed at Hassan. Right? It's been him being stopped at the border. It's him. Now this whole thing with the ADL. Well, now that he's, it's almost like Idubbbz was like, wait a minute, I want to get fucked with too, and then comes on this show, right? Okay. So in response to that clip, Ethan is understandably angry, and I'm surprised because, again, like, this is a guy who has there's so much to criticize Ethan Klein on. There's so many things that you could go after him for that would be totally fine. There's so many people who don't like him who are on his side. Like I said, we've got the Stalin, Hitler, FDR, Darth Vader, Voldemort, Doomsday Pact that have all come together to somehow be on this guy's side. And so he could have melted down on his stream, which would have been kind of entertaining. It would have been entertaining for someone like me who just wants to see a shit show. But he could have done that. Instead, he does something which is way funnier, which is reveal this. Now, to be clear, this is something that the thread on Kiwi Farms has known for a while, because it's easy to put the dates together, and there have been comments about it in the past. But, of course, the thread on Kiwi Farms doesn't have 50,000 live viewers like H3H3 is. So he just lobs this little tack nuke back. Ian lost his virginity to Anissa, and he had never had a girlfriend or been with a woman before that. This is what he told me shortly before he started dating her. What I think is really funny about this is, in any other circumstance, I would say this is based, that he married the first woman he had sex with. Like in a normal functioning relationship where you have this balance between like the best parts of men and the best parts of women, symbiotic, like a organism, this would be great, and would actually indicate a very low divorce rate. People who marry the first people they have sex with have the lowest divorce rate, and people who are married have sex more than anybody else, which is why it's funny that they call like people like that incels. The problem is Idubbbz has somehow managed to turn basically getting the statistical jackpot into what he is, which is totally like sexless and everything. And I said this last stream where it's so funny that they were calling Ethan an incel, because Ethan has physical proof that he's had sex, which is 3 children, whereas Anissa and Idubbbz don't. So, maybe there's a double super funny red pill position to take on this, where it's like, no, Ethan's lying. Ian didn't lose his virginity to Anissa because he still hasn't lost it. They haven't actually had sex, which is not even really outside the realm of possibility, given the way that their relationship is structured. Okay. So he also brings up, he said, I never planned on sharing that story, but after sharing him call Skull's humorous, I realized there's nothing they won't say or do. Yeah, I mean, just go off, King. Like, if I was Ethan, honestly, the one thing that he has that he hasn't released yet, drop all the texts. Every interaction you've ever had, drop it. There must be something in there that he thinks makes him look just as bad, and let's be real, there probably is. So it's like I kind of get that, but if Ethan's really dedicated to getting all the way up to the 44 escalation chart, he'll do that. Ian has an emotional relationship with Anisha, not a physical one. The problem is it's impossible to have a healthy marriage without sex. You have to be having regular sex. That's also why birth control is bad, because it messes up women's sex drive cycle. But yeah, so it's like you should just drop all the texts. And yeah, like I said, there's gonna be something in there that makes him look bad, but just go for it, man. Like, you're already in full-scale nuclear war. Just drop it all. That's kind of why, I really don't like there's aspects of the, quote, commentary community, the LGBT community, that's really gay. But one thing I do like, they do stuff like they sweep up for, quote, sex work, and they use all this gay neologisms and language. They don't speak honestly. They cover up for people that they shouldn't. But one thing is they have a very simple rule about dropping DMs, which is the minute anyone drops any DMs, you just drop everything. That is based. And that's how I would like to see that sort of more outsider perspective that the rest of the internet works on find its way into these leftist spheres, because dude, I bet you that the DM change between all of these guys, Noah are fucking wild. So this is Anissa disproving a claim that Ethan made that the previous boyfriend of hers was 17. What's funny about this is, again, this is something that's been on Kiwi Farms. They've already disproven that that she didn't date a 17-year-old. What is funny is that by drawing attention to this, however, people are going to see that she cheated on this boyfriend to get with Ian, which is terrible. That is proves what everyone claims about her. This is this is funny, saying Kiwi Farms rumor. Like, again, this is low IQ narcissist Anissa, where like she thinks she's getting a W but is low IQ and doesn't realize it's an L. Her saying this means people are going to type in Kiwi Farms and go to this thread, and what's in the first page? Proof that she cheated on this boyfriend that she's proving wasn't underage. And this is her in the past, 8 years ago, telling a story about how her and Ian met. And apparently this story doesn't line up. Like, there's lies in here, so let's see.
Is my first video in my new location. I am now in San Diego. And I'm going to talk while standing. And
Okay, hold on. We're not going to watch. We only want one section of this. I know, guys, this is a cognito hazard. The longer you listen to this, it hurts your brain. Everybody turn on your psychic shields. Psychic shields active. Come on. Where is it? How did you meet? Here. All right, psych. Red alert, shields up.
Coming. How did you and Ian meet? I was in San Diego for TwitchCon, and I, being an idiot, accidentally booked an extra night and an extra day in San Diego. So TwitchCon was over, everybody was gone, and I was stuck in the hotel alone with nothing to do. And I was on my Twitter feed, and it was when Ian was just spamming his Twitter feed with something about Leafy and Max Mofo backstabbing him like as a meme. And he was just like,
what is it with San Diego? Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because San Diego it still is nice compared to like LA, but San Diego actually has the best median temperature of anywhere to live on Earth. And basically like 15 years ago, before it had become full urban sprawl, and you had like the Lamplight district is really nice there. There's 2 colleges there. There's a lot of parties and stuff. San Diego was pretty nice. I saw the Rolling Stones there like 10 years ago in the stadium. And it was still not terrible back then, but San Diego has like grown so fast in just the last like 5 to 6 videos. Too loud. Oh yeah, you're right. This one is. I didn't even look at this one. Thank you. Here, I'll go back.
coming. How did you and Ian meet? I was in San Diego for TwitchCon, and I, being an idiot, accidentally booked an extra night and an extra...
So I think the story she's going to tell here is that she's there for TwitchCon, she talks to Ian and meets up with him. Now, the problem is she's told a different story before that, like in their Discord, there's a lot of old Discord messages from her of her talking shit about Ian. That's how we know they almost broke up. And, you know, some people say, oh, we could have saved him. I don't know. I think Ian's fucked.
Sure.
But in that story, she was still with her previous boyfriend. That's why I say she cheated.
day in San Diego. So TwitchCon was over, everybody was gone, and I was stuck in the hotel alone with nothing to do. And I was on my Twitter feed, and it was when Ian was just spamming his Twitter feed with something about Leafy and Max Mofo backstabbing him like as a meme. And he was just like, it was like tweet after tweet after tweet. So I was like, okay, this individual's bored. I know he lives in San Diego. Maybe he wants to hang out because anything's better than like sitting in this hotel.
Wow. So yeah, it's just straight up monkey bar. She sees an opportunity. It's sort of like me calling into the Housemeister stream and just talking shit. Just total like opportunistic behavior.
All day. So we ended up messaging each other, and he was like, oh, do you want to go and eat? And I was like, sure, just whatever. I just don't want to be in this hotel room anymore. So Ian ended up taking me to this hole-in-the-wall taco shop, which are usually the best places to get tacos, but I was way too nervous to eat.
The best place to get tacos is from either a truck or a stand, not a restaurant.
Just because I
unregistered like food stands are based, and anybody who tells you otherwise because like they're dirty or whatever is retarded. They are fighting against the food permit license cartel.
Nervous meeting new people, period, no matter who it is. So he ended up ordering 2 tacos. I got a strawberry soda, and we sat down and we talked for like 3 to 4 hours. It was nonstop talking, and we just clicked really, really well. So finally we got out of our seats and we went to his car, and we were sitting in his car, and we continued talking. And without much warning at all or anything, Ian just takes his key and puts it in the ignition. And I took that as, okay, I'm done conversing with you. I'm done talking to you. I'm gonna take you back now. And in my head, for some reason, I went, holy shit, he doesn't like me. So I started like panicking, and I started like word vomiting, and it got really awkward really fast because I was just like sputtering whatever was coming to my mind. And he started to take that as I wasn't interested in him. So we just had this really awkward car ride to the hotel, where when we pulled up to the hotel, we just had this kind of like awkward let's hug it out thing, and then I left. As soon as I left the Jeep,
So the thing she's not mentioning, if I recall correctly, is that she, like I said, she was still with her previous boyfriend, who was a streamer. So she was like at VidCon with him, and then goes and meets Ian.
I was thinking to myself, this human is never interacting with me again. I fucked it. Like, this is over. And and I guess he was thinking the same thing. He thought that I didn't like him, and he fucked it up. So when he got home, I guess he was fighting with himself whether to text me or not, because he thought that it was like completely done. But he decided to message me anyways, and he said, hey, I made it home safe. And the amount of relief that I was like, holy shit, this human is still talking to me, it was unbelievable. We didn't stop talking that whole night. We talked until we fell asleep, and then ever since then, we've just been pretty much inseparable. It sounds so stupid. The story's so stupid.
Yeah, that's like what something liars will say. So like, the story, doesn't that sound crazy? It's like, yeah, probably because you like have a whole bunch of lies in there, which are that she was with her boyfriend. We went back to we hated each other, but we went back to the hotel together. It's all right. Everybody regain your shields, your psychic powers. Okay, so this is, apparently this Tectone guy, his dad got like convicted of rape in some kind of military tribunal or whatever. I don't even know why he's involved in this story, but apparently he's gonna tell Myth to drop out.
Cuck, a charity event full of people who've been preparing for.
Yo, Myth. Yo, drop out. Yo, hear me out.
It's just so funny because we've reached the point where even guys of this size can get a benefit by shitting on creator class, which is like the worst kind of incentive structure that you want to set up through this drama. And now that like Ian has dropped out, now that they've saying that money's going to go to charity anyway, which we'll see about that, it means that like, why wouldn't he say this? Why wouldn't he want the bonfire to get even higher? The idea that it's a charity event has been completely discredited. They've admitted it and everything. So now you just have vultures like myself and obviously like you really big guys like this guy to come on here and just want more.
Myth, drop out, start your own. You know what I'm saying? It's really that easy. Bro, it would be hilarious. It would be hilarious. It would be such good content. Because Myth, let's be real. You know it. I know it. Everybody in this chat knows it. You are the best fighter by far. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, well, that's not saying much when half the fighters have fucking dropped out. The mainline guys dropped out. The only other person, like Lena, dropped out. Like
I was gonna watch you fight straight up, dude. Hey, it'd be easy. It'd be that easy. Also, good to see you, man. Myth, all you need to know from me is you have so much power in your hands right now.
I mean, he's right. Like what he's saying is right. With everybody dropping out, like Myth has like a lot of leverage.
It's when they invited me to do that shit, I was like, maybe I join, and then I drop out the day before.
Okay, yeah, but since you didn't do that, you shouldn't say that because now you just look like a bitch. Like, if you had done that, you would have gotten a lot of hate, obviously. There would have been people who were grumpy about it. But then you'd be able to laugh about it. And instead, you're, like, talking about your hypothetical troll, which is gay. Okay, so this is just the ADL basically saying Hassan's a terrorist and Hassan having a melty about it.
All over the place. If you go into a synagogue...
I like that she didn't even push back, by the way, which is, again, journalistic malpractice. Shouts.
Oh, really? Because she didn't push back. Meanwhile, we've had like 20 years of everybody write of Mao as a rapist on like all of these platforms.
Out to the CNN anchor who was just...
It's so funny, too, coming from like Hassan, who like readily defames people, just being like, the infamous example Nicholas Eats always brings up is him saying like, oh, he's a crypto fascist or whatever. It's like, you do, where's your journalistic integrity? Oh, you don't have any because you say you're a propagandist. Fair enough. Then I think the propaganda should be made about you.
Letting my man the fuck out of me. Like, what are you doing? There are other journalists on your platform that have literally asked me to go on their shows.
Yeah, because they're your simps. Have you ever noticed that all the journalists who write about Hassan, the mainstream one, Taylor Lorenz, whatever, are all like eggless middle-aged women who are suffering from I need to get married or I'll never have kids syndrome? Why do you think that most of his audience are women? It's just like a thirst. It's like he's a reverse VTuber. It's like a thirst trap.
There are other journalists on your platform that have done extensive coverage on what I do, including me targeting fucking disinformation and anti-Semitic narratives. It's not just Donny O'Sullivan either. There's plenty of other. It's like crazy that you just like let him.
Yeah, I mean, you discredit all the anti-Semitic narratives of your enemies because they're your enemies, not because you don't like the narrative, obviously. Because like some of the stuff that he's bitched about, like on people on the right, and gotten them deplatformed off Twitch because he literally is like butt buddies with the owner, he will then repeat when he's trying to when he's trying to attack Ethan. And here's a perfect example. I'm not just saying that. Here's a distinct example. Is the ADL thing. Guys like Hassan and everything would complain all the time when people would point out how, high elf influence over Twitch and Amazon, and how the ADL defines everything it doesn't like as anti-Semitism and all this stuff. They would point to that and say it's anti-Semitic, get it off the platform, and then they'd have to run away to Rumble. Meanwhile, this is his whole narrative here, is that the ADL is basically like a Zionist captured organization that is just attacking him. And, there's obviously truth to that, but like none of the people who you deplatformed are going to come to your aid. Not only that, but like there's no reason to. There's no victory in supporting this guy. And the way you know that he's realizing that is when he starts doing the turn on guys like Bad Empanada, guys who everybody thinks are creepy weirdos, borderline like terrorist, pedophile coded guys like Bad Empanada, who pedophile coded, as in I don't have any proof he's a pedophile. He's coded that way. The reason why he's had to do an about face on that guy is because only guys like that, only guys in the bunker who think that they're fighting for the Fourth International are who don't care about the social consequences are going to like support this.
Fucking spit like this. Ay ay ay.
Hey. You're going through a magnetometer and you're walking past police. Which
it's like, I'm not done. I want to keep going back to this Hassan guy. He fucking sucks. Can we just talk more?
They're paid off. I think it's more complicated than that. I think that there's a lot of people who he's got pedo code in his brain chip. I think that there's a lot of people who support these narratives and will cope for like the women who cope for Hassan. Like, you don't even need money. There's a reason why corruption of women used to be a charge in the pre-modern world, and it's because if like you are a certain level of attractiveness and charisma as a man, you can literally get a woman to do or accept anything. And so when you have a guy like Hassan who checks all these boxes that these like middle-aged journalists coom over, he could literally go up there. He could be Kanye. He could go up there and say NHH, and they would be like stunning and brave.
More about him. He's about to like pull a Ethan Klein and start talking about my feet or something. You know what I mean? He's literally about to be like, listen, Kate, we're not done here.
Well, no, I mean, and that's the thing. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to resort to that. There was a guy who screamed Free Palestine and was one of your followers who shot 2 people. We don't need to talk about your feet anymore. This is what I mean by the escalation chart. The bottom, this is solemn and formal declaration. That's making fun of your feet, okay? We're way past that.
Okay. Have you...
And it's not over for this guy. Again, I'm not telling people to do this. I'm just making a prediction right now. Hassan is going to get swatted by the end of this. 100% it's going to happen. And it's, hail Pellinal, totally, man. He is going to get swatted by the end of this because it is the final It's just where it's going. And honestly, so will Ethan probably. I mean, people are already getting shot. Like, it's really not that much of a stretch. And then once that happens, once the like swatting cherry is popped, the way conversations work on this left-wing sector of the internet will be almost indistinguishable from the sector, like the IBS sector, where it's just you get in the call first thing, you're a pedophile, then you start talking about who swatted who, etc., whatever.
You've seen this guy's fucking armpits.
He's talking about his armpits. Great.
You seen this guy's arm?
Okay, how do people watch this? I can't even finish this 1 minute clip. This guy's so fucked. Like, he's so boring. He has no answer. Basically, no answer. Got it. Okay, so this is Idubbbz joining. Like I said, I'm not going to play all. It's about an hour. There's just a couple things I want to talk about in here because there's some major cope where, like, Idubbbz seemingly wants people to be more political. And I am of two minds. Because he's specifically talking about how commentary guys who normally only talk about, like, bullshit, drama, should be more political. And I'm of two minds. There's my actual thoughts, which are, wow, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Who the fuck wants to hear about political opinions from Nicholas Eats Oreos? Like, these are the least well-equipped people, the least well-informed people, and it's proof by a lot of this, like, left sector guys who have had basically no upward pressure put on them because they don't get deplatformed to refine their arguments. It's why, for as crazy and stupid as the sector is, when they have debates, they're actually better because there's been so much upward pressure through deplatforming and by constant fights and stuff that has just not existed on this area, in this side of things for 10 years. They've just been coddled, protected on every platform, allowed to say dumb stuff, not be corrected and whatever, because anyone who comes to try and challenge them gets banned, right? So on the one hand, I want to say, no, commentary people should not talk about politics because they're not informed. There's nothing to learn from, and they're just going to make idiots of themselves. On the other hand, there's my, like, content brain thoughts as a member of the audience, which are, yes, talk about politics, because they're going to sound so stupid. You're basically going to, okay, think about this. Here's a callback. 2017, beginning of the IBS era. Remember the debate between, everybody remembers this, the debate between Richard Spencer and Sargon, where it, like, instantly devolved into hilarious bullshit about, like, what is white and you're not as smart as you think you are. There's a reason that debate is remembered because it's fucking hilarious. It's not very informative. You're not going to learn a lot in that debate, but it's fucking hilarious seeing these guys, like, talk about these topics and just have no idea what they're talking about. So as a member of the audience, I kind of agree with Idubbbz. You guys, go for it, man. Go for it. I want to see the debate where you guys talk about, like, proportional force theory of Hamas and you can't even spell the name. Like, I want to talk about, like, the definition of terrorist with Hassan versus someone else, because it's going to be so stupid and it's going to be so entertaining. Now, the problem is if they do it for long enough, they'll end up like the sector where all the arguments are refined and stuff. Yes, Sargoy of Black Dad. I remember the dark-skinned... yes, sector's land of warrior poets, exactly. And so, if they enter this sort of leftist IBS arc, the first couple years, there's going to be some really funny debates where these guys don't know what they're talking about. By the end of about 5 years, half of it will be culled, and they'll be smarter, and they'll have better arguments. And, obviously, as someone on the right, like, generally, who doesn't want these guys to get better at anything, I kind of don't want that, but I'm also a member of the audience, so it's like, it would be entertaining. And ultimately, the goal, you're not gonna get your revolution. You should just try to become as autonomous as possible so you don't have to care about the way this discourse goes. Okay, buddy. Look at his hair. Like, this is what I mean. It's just bipolar. Like, is that what he's going for?
How's it going?
It's going well. I've had a very productive day.
What are you working on?
If that's the first thing he says, he's had a productive day because he has to meet with Anissa at the end of he has to meet with Anissa at the end of every day and tell her what he did that day to make them more money. So it'll turn into Destiny, but less bad faith. No, I don't think Destiny is actually good at debating. I hate that narrative. I hate this narrative that Destiny is actually smart or that he's actually good at debate. I know I spent like 30 minutes shit talking Josh, but Josh is completely right when he says that if it wasn't for the DNC aligning with Destiny's ability to be a cock-sucking gooner, he would just be a carpet cleaner in North Dakota. He is the most astroturfed, like, idiot. Like, Adderall-brained idiot. And I have a short on the channel you should watch where I explain why it's so funny how long people kept talking about Destiny with reverence as if he's some kind of smart debater or whatever. Even after it came out that he was sucking cock while married. That should have been the end of it. The only time Destiny should ever be brought up by anyone, circa 2020, past 2020, when it went into like the open relationship arc, should have been just to laugh at him. Because there's nothing else like positive, or there's literally no concession to give, even on his like debatability. Go back and listen to the Destiny JonTron debate. I know people remember that debate as JonTron getting destroyed. I think JonTron did better than people give him credit for.
I have been doing some editing. I got something cooking up. I went to Walgreens.
It's his OnlyFans tape, but he's not the one in it.
Do some
with Nessa.
Take some passport photos.
Why are you saying that? Why are you telling us that you're getting a passport? Again, this is a guy this guy has had the privilege of being on the protected sector of the internet. Imagine being in the sector and saying that. It's like, hey, everybody, I'm about to travel internationally. If you wanted to report me to the FBI so I get stopped at the border like Hassan, you better do it now. Of course, I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying that that's what he's telling the crazy people when he gives that sort of information for free.
And Anissa and I ate some ketchup chips and some mustard chips.
Ooh. Are you in Canada or something? Or not a Canadian?
We're headed there.
Ah.
I can't believe people take Canadians seriously when they have ketchup flavored chips. Ketchup is not a flavor, okay? Ketchup is one part of like a meal. Like, not even a meal. Ketchup is not a flavor.
Yeah, we're warming up. No,
Andrew Wilson has beaten Destiny. I remember when Andrew Wilson was just a random sector chatter, Big Papa fascist. Then he got a big ego and couldn't open a jar. I actually don't have that much against him. I don't listen to him very often. I just think it's funny how his tone and positions have shifted based off where he is in his like ascension, right? The things he said as a chatter are very different than the things he says now. I'll just say that.
If anyone sees the hot mustard Doritos at the store, give those a shot.
Yeah, exactly. I made a meme for a friend of mine where I took the picture of JonTron in the I think it was a Eastern Catholic, Byzantine Rite Catholic church with his wife, and it's just like, how can anyone say JonTron lost?
Pretty good.
Very good.
Nice, man.
We're live, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was the first thing you should have asked.
Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Again, this is what I mean. Like, these are such rookie mistakes if you're going to be entering this. You're entering civilian Central Wars stage, right? You know?
To mention that to my guests.
No, I mean, it should be obvious. I just felt, for some reason, I felt the need to ask.
Always good to check. Yeah, we're live. This is day 6 of the stream, and I'm glad you were down to come on. You were a highly requested guest. Because we're gonna,
of course, fucking awesome,
drama
dude.
and debate and all that. Yeah, I mean, is there anything you wanted to talk about?
Okay, come on.
And fucking, I like that shit.
Play a little GeoGuessr? Yeah,
watch
I'm super down.
I mean, I'm also, I'm good to debate. I'm good to talk shit.
What are you going to debate? You just submit to everything and agree with everything.
Just talk about what's happening on Twitter, elsewhere.
What is happening on
Twitter?
Twitter?
We can talk about Ethan Klein's Instagram stories. We can talk about the Palestinian plight.
We can talk about... We can talk about my Instagram stories, or we can talk about the third Intifada.
We can talk about
what the fuck, man.
Well, my dog.
It almost makes me think that, like, despite him trying to be like this, we need to talk about this moral advocate. He doesn't understand the stakes of like what is occurring in Gaza and like this war. Like, he doesn't understand what war is, that he would put those next to each other. And then he honestly thinks that this thing with Ethan is about the third Intifada.
Dog was doing today?
All sorts of good topics. I guess we'll start with something small, like the Palestinian plight. When you were talking about it in the, I guess, video, you brought up the topic of like Israel-Palestine in kind of through the lens of what Ethan was saying about it and how this group of creators were talking about it. I was wondering if there was much in that more political vein that you wanted to say and perhaps didn't talk about in the video intentionally, given the talk.
This guy is the worst interviewer. Okay, so you want Ian to talk about politics, obviously, because Noah is a political guy. The way you get Ian to talk about politics is you ask him like pointed questions. You say, Ian, are Hamas terrorist? Ian, do you think that there should be, like, obviously he's like believes in a I guess, one state solution for Palestine. I don't even know. But like, you ask him that. You ask him direct questions. You're not just like, so yeah, there's this thing called like politics, like, and what's up with that?
Target audience, or like if that even was a intentional choice, or just to keep it focused more on the I guess the stuff with you and Ethan specifically. If that was like more the
yeah,
goal.
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, I think I'm still kind of trying to find my place on the internet, and
you're not finding a place. You're being forced into a place. That's what all of this has been. Is you being beat into a place.
And I think I want to be productive
and submitting to it, which is of course your agency in that.
And I want to do things that I speak on things that I care about. But I also know there's like different ways of doing that. I see videos like that you make and a lot of the people that you've brought onto your stream. And something that I've noticed with a lot of your guys' stuff is that it's so information dense and it isn't drama.
Information dense? How long is the stream? 8 hours? That's like the opposite of dense. Information dense is making a 30-minute video like explaining the totality of your position on the Palestine war. That'd be pretty information dense for a topic of that complexity. Not an 8-hour stream where you're asking about whether we're going to talk about Ethan Klein's Instagram story or quote the Palestinian plight.
It's like it's a little further down the funnel, and I feel like I might be a little bit more top of the funnel. And I really don't mind that.
I'm top of the funnel. I'm the top of the funnel.
Kind of want to.
I'm the king of the funnel.
I
from
think
the top on down.
To say free Palestine and also roll around in some of the drama slop. And
okay.
I just think for some people who are a little bit more like apolitical or just like not really engaged, that a video like mine might be their first exposure to it potentially.
Yeah, that's probably why they hated it and were like, "What the fuck is this?"
And
that's why you really shouldn't mix the two. Or if you are, you're like very distinct when you do it, and you make it clear to your audience like what the priorities are.
So I know that to not make some people fall asleep, it being on something that people obviously care about.
Literally, his video is him just sitting in a room talking at a camera, and you're saying that you don't want them to fall asleep. There wasn't any skits. There wasn't any jokes. There was nothing.
A little bit more, casually. It's the drama stuff. So that's the main reason. It's just like I want, and that's another reason as well. There's so many like well-educated people to speak on this, and I feel like I don't necessarily want people to get the.
I hate how this guy has the Southern Californian dialect. You are not. Get off of me. You are not my representative.
The full scoop and the full bread from me, just like an intro potentially.
Yeah, I could see that. I think a lot of creators have that same feeling. It's like post October 7th, where it's like the feeling where you should be speaking on this. And
I guess it's because all these guys live in LA, right? They all either move there or are from there.
And the kind of moral imperative to speak on it, but also not having necessarily a firm background or academic background on the subject can kind of cause apprehension, I think, and that's understandable. I think the way you brought it into I'm glad you brought it into the video, especially under the circumstances of like, this is what Ethan's saying. And I'm wondering, or this is what Ethan's saying, the video's about Ethan, but obviously these things mean a lot more if you're aware of the full context of like.
They say so much and say nothing. Like, what did he just say there? It's the issues are complicated. It's hard to be precise when speaking about such a large issue. But he says it in like 40 words.
What he said about you.
I get it. He's been streaming for 8 hours, but then don't also call it informational dense. Also, why have this interview at the end of the stream? This is what you lead with, right? You bring Ian on and you have some. You press him on like what his positions are.
Gallant, or just any of the clips you played of him talking. And I'm wondering what the response was like from people, if there was any.
Well, it's funny you say if you ask Ian about Palestine 5 years ago, he would have had no opinion. I think it's even more recent than that. Ethan claims that Ian didn't even know what Zionist meant 6 months ago. So it's like even worse.
Sort of inquisitive comments about the politics of the situation, like where people like, like what you're talking about, top of the funnel. Like, did you get that sense from some? I know a lot of it was about the drama, but did you see anything, whether in the comments or elsewhere on the internet, that like led you?
The problem is causing issue. The other one is basically something happened
towards the belief that the video is serving as a top funnel.
Yeah. As I give you my answer, I just want to say, while you were talking, it sounded like the mic source switched to like your webcam or something.
Okay.
It's really hard, right? There's a lot of comments, and it seems like.
Oh, this is him. I saw a clip of this. This is him basically trying to cope about how it's everybody. Actually, not everybody hates the video because the comments are just mean. You realize that the comments are the people who care the most. Like the people who leave comments are higher, more invested than the people who just watch the video. So if all of them hate you, that should tell you something.
I got like, from what I could tell, like a pretty even mixture, 50-50. Like some people are like, oh, this is way too like into politics. They thought there's a lot of people who thought the video was too centered around Israel-Palestine. I was like, well, in my mind, that's crazy because I felt like it was just the smallest touch of that. And then there were some people who said the exact opposite.
Israel-Palestine is the locus of Hassan's alleged dispute with Ethan. Now, I've said before, I think the real dispute is that Hassan just wants to be the king of left YouTube and is basically trying to like impose his Massa Mola infallibility doctrine on everybody. So he chooses this one really, really, really indistinct issue, which is, oh yeah, I'm pro-Palestine, but you know, I think like there shouldn't be a genocide, like Israel shouldn't be completely destroyed. He picks this one little issue and creates a beef with Ethan about it to like impose, as a Turkish tyrant, his infallibility doctrine. So like, of course, people are going to read that into your video.
And they were like, oh, this is something that should have been addressed behind closed doors. Like, this is way like personal. This is your personal gripe or whatever that you're, making public. So I got a little bit of both. And I'm pretty satisfied with that because I feel like that's probably the sweet spot. If people can say both of those things.
Yeah. You said you were still searching for a space on the internet or a space with what you're making. Obviously, after you went.
I'm still searching for a space on the internet. This guy's YouTube channel is, 15 years old and has 7 million subscribers? You had a place on the internet. It was being like a guy dressed up as a cop shooting your shotgun at porcelain gnomes in the desert. That was your place. That's what you built your audience off of. Then you decided, I don't like this place. You set it on fire like a pyromaniac. Apologize to all of your fans for the crime of existing, and are now being forced into a new place as the Turkish tyrant's rent boy in his harem.
Woke. That has made it like you're in a new space.
Hassan would never approve of open borders for Turkey. Yeah, I responded to one of his tweets where I pointed out that he talked about how no nation has a right to exist. And I said, does Turkey have a right to exist? And if it's about persecution, what about, do you support Peshmerga and the Kurds? Do you support the Armenians who were genocided, the Greeks in the genocide in Smyrna? Do you, of course, no, in a secular materialist world where there is no transcendent justification for the state, all states exist merely by a monopoly of force over a piece of territory. It is all might makes right. And Hassan, as a communist, as a leftist, I don't even know what he self-defines. He's a leftist, he says that, is a materialist. He is a secular materialist. He does not believe in a transcendental justification for the state, which is how you get this might makes right ideology that Israel uses to do everything it does. His entire worldview is the root of this problem.
That you have to navigate. And where are you at in that process now since you went woke, and then also since the response to the
Did he just say he went woke? Aren't you woke too? I thought that was a derogatory. Are you reclaiming it like the N-word?
Content, the H3 video maybe, if that's changed the trajectory at all?
Yeah, I think a lot of it for me is just confidence and just trying to, feel good, feel proud, feel fucking energized, and want to, roll around in the shit, clap back, and not feel not be so I guess paralyzed that you're fucking doing damage. And to be honest, I think just to have a little.
It is funny hearing them all say this and then listening to the apology. Go back and listen to the apology review. And when he talks about how bad how none of his videos were justified, it's never justified to criticize everyone. And now he's just like, I just want to roll in the shit.
More purpose.
This would be like if Ralph made a video one day saying that he's better than this and everything he did was bad, and then within 1 year was back to where he is now. At least Ralph has been consistent on that.
And, I feel super jazzed.
I'm being the dirtiest ape in the zoo.
And I hope this is just the beginning. Because I want to, I don't know, there's some of that energy that I think people recall from old Idubbbz videos, and they're like, I want that old unhinged Idubbbz energy, that kind of shit. And I kind of get what they're saying. And I think a lot of
what people want is entertainment. It's really that simple, man. If you could make political content and all this shit and it was entertaining, you could maybe make that shift. People, I wouldn't like it. But there could be an audience for that. I mean, what's funny is Ethan is a perfect example of that. He went from normie shitpost stealing Sam Hyde's jokes videos to essentially a political podcast that also mixes in drama, and he gets 50,000 views.
A lot of it is just generally having passion, and that coming, to say fucking enough's enough, and political, everything's political. You have to acknowledge that element as well. If because it's all also political, everything's political. You have to.
Yeah, everything's political. That's very good postmodern doctrine. That's really helps you out, Idubbbz.
To acknowledge that element as well. I'm not gonna run away from that.
Yeah. And sometimes till tomorrow, and then maybe end, which will be.
The problem with the everything's political thing is it's well, then what's politics? What's the source of politics? What's the source of our justification and our principles in politics? Because if it's just material conditions, then yes, everything by definition is political. But if the source of like our political principles, it comes from outside this world, it's not material, it's transcendental, well, then that's something else.
I had a question about that. Sorry. I think it was a lot about you right after the H3 Content Cop.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It is what it is. I try to not.
It is what
give
it
too much
is.
attention.
As PPB says, the cope of the copeless.
And, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But I think he was raising money on his video. So.
And it sounds like when you're talking about what you want to do, it's there's a focus on how you're working on your art. I don't know if you would call it art, but like how you're working
your art. Dancing around with the shotgun, sitting in a chair, talking about this is not what podcasts are.
on making a video and killing themselves and whatever else.
Whoa.
And that can be used for good, obviously, and it can be used for bad. Like, lolcows ending up killing themselves and whatever.
This is the lolcow part. Yeah, he's basically saying like laughing at lolcows is bad, except for when there are enemies. Look, because he says it can be used for good. Listen,
like this on the internet, somebody's gonna shit on you and it's gonna get a lot of views. And I think that was one of at least when I remember watching them and saying, yeah, like that's there's like a broader thing going on here. And I know as you're making things,
do these guys think talking shit was invented yesterday? That's like when people talk about like the lolcow trend. It's a new name for something that's always existed, which is that people have fun talking shit online. The problem is that when you start extrapolating anything beyond that into it,
things you probably don't think about it like that, but the structure of YouTube and YouTube commentary is kind of like it feels like that. Find a target and critique them, and that can be used for good, obviously, and it can be used for bad. Like
or it could be used for entertainment, which is what it's actually used for. These guys' like moral philosophy is so fucked because there's no basis, there's no like foundation to any of it. It is when he says use for good and use for evil, it means nothing more than the friend-enemy distinction. That's literally all he means. What he means is it can be used for good when you criticize my enemy, and it can be used for bad when you criticize my friend. That's what he means. Whereas if we just acknowledge that the purpose of talking shit online is entertainment and there's no moral imperative beyond that, well, then you don't need to make that distinction.
Lolcow.
As long as you're not like doing like life ruination, you're not swatting people and shit.
I was ending up killing themselves and whatever else. It's a I don't know. I think I try to relate it back to politics and think like, does that structure of like looking at an Ethan Klein and saying like what he's doing is harmful in a lot of ways.
If you guys think that you're going to turn talking shit online into the latest enemy or the latest tool of your political movement, you got another thing coming.
Is that connected, do you think, to this old approach of like...
Yeah, exactly. Doxing, great quote. I remember that. Doxing can be used for good or doxing can be used for awesome.
Exactly. Even though it might have felt like childish at the time. I mean, that's still the fundamental structure of what a lot of YouTube is, right? It's criticize. It's find something, criticize it, and then depending on how the audience takes it...
yeah, well, Idubbbz refers to all criticism as harassment, like directly, so...
Go from there. Like critical videos get shit on sometimes, and they get... they run a creator gets run off the internet because they made a bad dunk video. I mean, you got a lot of backlash for the content, the latest content cop, I know. So you can handle it, I know, because you've been doing it for a long time, but a lot of people can't. But
they can't handle it. They put their podcast behind a paywall and said that they were being harassed for 5 years. Don't say he can handle it.
Yeah, similarity.
He quite literally can't handle it. He blew a 7 million subscriber YouTuber channel because he couldn't handle it.
It's like,
yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think when I was speaking on that, I guess like that was one of the reasons why I felt comfortable, bringing back content cop, is I was like, oh, I have like a different perspective going into this, and I feel like my critiques are like they're way more in line with what I fuck with, rather than kind of what I see the internet fucking with. Like, because in these past videos, it's like,
so you're saying that you've become un-audience captured? Okay, sure, you're right. You're not captured by your audience because you disowned your audience. You're captured by Hassan. You're captured by these other peers, these closer, more personal peers who have siloed you off politically so much that you think you're winning. Those are the people who have captured you, and they can do so much more damage to you than the audience. Because like Hassan has his like Turkish Janissary axe over his head at all times. Because if Hassan boots him out of the harem, where the fuck does he go then?
It's like, okay, like, what does the...
Like, who's going to give him comfort? Because he clearly can't make a home for himself.
Internet not like about this person. And in a lot of cases, it was just really dumb shit, really petty shit. It's like, the harshest criticism of Rice Gum was like, yeah, he's arrogant and he flaunts his money. And it's like, okay, like, that's not,
It was funny. Your video was funny. You made fun of him for being, like, an arrogant, materialistic, like, Asian man who can't take criticism. It's like a funny contradiction. That's all it has to be. It doesn't need to be the crusade. It doesn't need to be saving the Middle East, the third Intifada.
It was, it was maybe a good video, maybe entertaining video, but it didn't really
push the discourse. It didn't save the West. It's funny. It's just so funny, some of the parallels, because there's guys on the right that are kind of like this too, where they think that like we need to argue about boobs in video games to save the West. and shit like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not apologizing for like hyper Coomer shit. I'm just saying that, you know, you're not saving the West. Like Quarter Pounder is not saving the West with coffee brand coffee or by bitching about video games or whatever. The best way to affect the video game industry is to stop buying video games. Just like how I said in the Andor review, it's like stop watching ads, stop paying for subscription services, stop giving the rat money. That is how you actually like vote or whatever. It's not by grifting online about it. And if you're open about it, you're like, well, I'm talking about this because it's entertaining and people want to hear it. Sure, cool. Go off, King. That's fine. But don't tell me that you're saving the West.
Didn't fulfill me, I think, in a better way. And I don't think it was like in line with what my purpose is. So yeah, I do think there is some necessity to it. And I do like the idea of these videos like holding people accountable, even if it's just the fear.
Isn't it funny how like in the apology video, he directly says that like all the stuff he was criticizing wasn't real. Like he's not holding anyone accountable. He's putting himself above people when he's not. And then now it's like he's the Judge Dredd of the internet now, and he's going to hold people accountable. If only you had a name for that, like content cop or something. Like we've come full circle. Like this is some Hindu theology shit where we've gone through the Kali Yuga and now the universe has been reborn with, dude, what if I do content cop? Whoa, if only you figured that out 5 years ago when you disavowed it last.
Or of like a video being made about you. It's kind of, you know, for some people, it, you know, maybe it doesn't mean much, but obviously, like, you know, the fear of someone fucking doing a hit piece or like a, you know, just kind of going through your life, auditing your online life is just kind of, yeah, that's a threat.
Somebody makes a video and immediately that person's friend and friends and friend group and map of content creators all make functionally the exact same video. And then it's like, oh, there's a
brigading. Yeah. You know all about that.
Monetary aspect of it that gets wrapped up into it. And then, I mean, I've been seeing it more and more with, I guess, people like you, people like Hassan. And I'm wondering, I guess, like you're saying, when you look back and identify the surface level critiques of someone like Ricegum that are just like...
I'll say this about brigading. If it's just a bunch of people talking shit, like leaving bad comments or whatever, using the term brigading for that is really gay. And because there's no way to distinguish that from just you did something stupid and you're getting criticism like naturally. The point where I think like you could actually use the term brigading is when you get like mass flagging, like what Karl Jobst wanted to do to Lus, where you're like actively trying to deplatform them by taking advantage of like a shitty flag system. That, I guess, that would be like justifiable to use the term brigading. But when it's just you get a bunch of dislikes, you get a bunch of people are talking shit, it's like there's no way to distinguish that from just the natural consequence of making something bad or something people don't like.
Very simplistic, like, oh, this shit is annoying and cringe, which it is. Are there trends you see now that like that's obviously stayed? How have you seen it like stay, and does that like motivate you to want to continue trying to have more of a, you know, political or more of a in-depth commentary, I guess?
Yes, I think I've been surprised by how much it's stayed. There are a lot of things, Ethan as an example, there are a lot of things to like mock him about, bring up, make him look stupid, all this sort of shit. Like the fucking tattoos are insane. Like I really like wanted to...
Buddy, leave the tattoo criticism. I mean, you guys have a whole ecosystem here. You've got Bipolar Hair Man, you got the Turkish Tyrant. There are a lot of people who can do the tattoo talk. Not you, man. You're not that guy, okay?
Goof and rag on this guy, especially in the first video. But I'm like, this is so not like what I really care about. It just feels, really is not it. But ultimately, it just didn't feel right to me. Maybe in the future, I'll feel like, I mean, and I am kind of being validated a little bit because I'm realizing like, oh yeah, like...
Are you trans? You need validation?
Is like fucking posting on his stories and shit, you know? Yeah. But nah, it's...
Are you pulling back on your more surface level, more like edgier and less substantive critiques? I think that speaks.
So if it's edgy, it's by definition shallow. Or maybe there's a distinction between people making edgy joke and their actual politics. Have you ever considered that sometimes people just say shit, and that if you want to have a political discussion with them, there's like another format or a form for that? And the other problem is just the very concept of thinking that you like deserve to talk seriously about someone with politics over the internet, in the sense that the people whose political opinions I care about, who I would actually want to sit down and talk about and get us on the same page, are like people in your real life, your family or your friends and stuff, people who you're going to have to live with, that you're going to have to rely upon. Those are the people who you actually have an impact over, who you have leverage on each other, and you have you can like have a formation of a community by having like essentially emotional equity with each other. But as far as this, where it's like sometimes people just shitpost, dude. Sometimes people just shitpost, and if you're going to project their politics into that, that's like how you alienate a lot of people from whatever you're actually trying to do.
To a certain level of growth, where you made that video 5 years ago, it looks way different. You're talking about that fucked up tattoo for way longer than you would need to talk easy dunk for the crowd that wants you to talk about it, and you can talk about the intended effect. Because we talked.
Well, is the goal a dunk, or is the goal, like he said, to cause some kind of like political reawakening in the commentary community. Because if it's just to get it dunked, then you should just talk shit, right? But obviously, I guess that's not. He's saying that's not what he wants. He wants to. He wants Allah to awaken the people like of the commentary community and win the third Intifada.
A little bit about it before when you reached out for like commentary on the end of it, but I think probably for your intent, I don't know. He shit on the video for 12 hours and made a lot of content off of it, and I don't know. It seemed like not much.
Yeah, he won basically.
The points made any contact, which it's like, okay, if that's going to happen.
They clearly did make contact because people watched all 12 of those hours. Like there were audience members who watched it all. And you're like, it's very clear that the discourse online is that like he won.
Anyways, what's the point in even trying to be civil about it?
Yeah.
But also, you did that for a reason. It sounds like you're standing on it because.
I don't know. I want to be part of change, and
I'm sorry I keep skipping, but these guys like they spend like 40 minutes to ask a 5-word question. And so like once I get what he's asking, I just kind of skip because it's.
I think part of my thought process in making a video like this is like, well, I could fucking take heat from Ethan. Like I've been getting it from slot tubers.
Apparently you can't because you again put your podcast behind a protected Patreon.
Past, I don't know, since Anissa and I got together. So like I don't mind being a lightning rod or being an additional lightning rod
Then why did you apologize and disavow all your work and take it all down?
For like Ethan's ire. But I think I didn't really I don't know, I guess I just didn't expect
criticism? You didn't expect to be criticized as the guy who made his career off criticizing others?
I don't know, the commentary.
Like, this guy have a memory of a goldfish? It's almost like nothing happened. Nothing happened before yesterday, right?
Community as a whole to be so, like, fucking... I don't know, maybe they just don't think that there's, like, much in the way of views to get out of it. Because, I don't know, I look... Like, there's so much fucking content coming out of that podcast. And I'm just like, yeah, this could literally be, like, an infinite back and forth. Like, there's...
Yes. Yeah, that's, Ethan's a high elf. I'm pretty sure he's very open about the fact that he's, like, doing this for money. And this is good content for him because you look so bad and your position is so ridiculous that a CPS call was justified and skulls are justified that like the longer he can keep you on this, the more wins he gets.
So much fucking footage to sift through. There's like, and I can't believe that, the space.
Yeah, that's the job. If you have a 7 million subscriber YouTube channel, if you treated this like a real job, 40 hours a week, you could go through all of Ethan's shit and respond to all of it. You totally could. You totally could if you treated it like an actual job. But it's like you want Allah to awaken the people and a commentary community be awoken to politics. But you want to still only do this 2 hours a week.
It's just like not really that interested in it. I don't know, just
immediate coalesce around Ethan kind of thing, or cringe and cucked than the last video. So that's going to be their thought, regardless of when with each new thing you do, you're woker and more cringe and cucked than.
He's just like, so yeah, every video you make is worse and worse. I know he's like portraying what the narrative is, but why would he even just speak this into existence to him?
In the last video, so that's going to be their thought, regardless of what disappointing almost, or like boggles the mind that the low-hanging fruit of the stuff he's saying is just being completely ignored.
I think it's probably...
Yeah, it's a strategy. I'm sure he's thought so much about it. He's, well, we'll flood their feeds. Dude, there's people whose whole job it is to like sift through all this and point out like what's stupid and what's not. Come on.
Now that I'm giving more thought, I think it's just like what the audience looks like. Like, I talked to Hassan
about racist.
This briefly. Like, the fucking... Like, if you look at my comment section right now in the content cop, it definitely gives you probably... I mean, I guess, first fucking 20 are probably all, like, painfully average, comments. But if you get into, like, if you're trying to, like, get an opinion, like, what does the internet think about this video? You sort of by newest or whatever you want to do. You're going to walk away thinking that, like, the internet hates it. Like,
Yeah, but it's not just your comments. And again, this is what I'm talking about when I say how siloed he is his only form of feedback seems to be those comments and... like Hassan in the room with him, Hassan and his wife in the room. And of course, what they're saying is what he's about to say here, which is, those are just the comments. Like, trust me, there's this whole army that like is for you. Rohan's going to show up any minute now and they're majority on our side. But the thing is, you can go to like so many different platforms and see that no one is taking Ian's side. I spent like 10 minutes last stream just reading one positive comment about Anissa on LCF. And like, that was unusual because they're all so like, and it's again, this gets into the Darth Vader, Stalin, Hitler, Voldemort coalition, where all these people who should not be on the same side are united against you. You go on Kiwi Farms, anti-Idubbbz. You go on Twitter, anti-Idubbbz. You go in the like gay center left commentary community, anti-Idubbbz. You go obviously in his own comments section, anti-Idubbbz. You go on like the subreddits associated with all these people, anti-Idubbbz. The only one that's pro-Idubbbz is Snark, and they're not really pro-Idubbbz. They're pro-Idubbbz. They're pro-Hassan. It's not really quite the same thing. You can go across this kaleidoscope, this rainbow coalition, and they all fucking think you're dumb. But he doesn't look at any of these other places because they're too sensitive for his baby eyes.
Everyone hates the video. All the points were bad. I betrayed my friend.
Yes.
I want to make a quick buck.
Yep.
So
whatever.
the like-dislike ratio
Well,
was
I don't think it's for a quick buck, but the rest of that, yeah.
100% dislikes. They say that. They like
right, exactly. And I don't know, like seeing things on the back end, I'm just like, I don't see it that way, but I know that other commentary channels, regular people, when they're trying to get a temperature check about how people feel about this, they're going to if the like-dislike isn't giving them much of a vibe, they are going to go to the comments and they're going to use that as a template for how they should feel about it. Not in all cases, but they want to have
the dislikes bar is propagandizing against me, Gator.
An understanding. They want to be, but I think we're in kind of a new era. Like this might be, just
yeah. You think it's a new era because you jumped in. Just because you jumped in doesn't mean that this shit hasn't been going on for 10 years. You're just. You think again? It's like nothing. It's like tomorrow never happened. Tomorrow, the world was made when I woke up this morning.
Maybe a left versus right in commentary or something. But
it has been left versus right in commentary literally since Zoe Quinn had sex with 5 video game journalists, at least. And I would actually argue before that. Again, you want to come in and you have all these grand plans for this sector, the mega sector, and you don't even know what's going on.
But I think there's a big force of really loud people in the comments, and they scare people away. And especially if it's brigaded fast and quickly, like within the first 24 hours of it being uploaded, they're like, fuck this, I do not want the smoke, I do not.
This guy is like a far right tier like conspiracy theorist, where it's like anyone who's criticizing me is part of this massive conspiracy.
I want the heat and even make them feel.
Any come to mind specifically?
I mean, I think the left or the Snark, the H3 Snark has like kept track of them. There was like one smaller commentary, Markiplier maybe.
The H3, it's funny too that he copes about the H3 Snark because it's fucking insane. There's some posts on there that are just like, I mean, even for Reddit, like Reddit's already radioactive, but for Reddit, it's tough.
I'm not sure what it was. I think it's the type of video that is just going to upset both sides of the aisle. Someone can correct me, but I think it essentially came down to like, yeah, they're both kind of being assholes, but we're all assholes, so what are you going to do? Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what it should be.
He like kind of followed like the whole back and forth of the story, and then just was like super apathetic by the end of it. And it's like, oh man, this is like, I don't know. It's fair if you just want entertainment, but I think people very quickly from both sides.
If it's fair, then why did you say you want like to reawaken the political heart of the sector? Like
said, like this video fucking sucks.
Like your whole thesis is that's not okay. Is that people need to be politically activated, and that you're going to be the guy to do it.
Did he privated it or deleted it? I'm not sure.
All right.
100th time you've talked about boobs in video games this week, and like I don't like you're getting views.
Right.
But
yeah.
It's kind of like a. It feels weird, and you are kind of one of the people in the middle of the transitory space, and that's kind of probably a weird position.
No, he's not in the middle. I'm pretty sure I know what he's talking about here. That he's like still making his transition to being his transition.
Drawing intense meaning out of that is still like an audience of people that hate this person for various reasons. They're not like necessarily like explicitly political actors. Like it's not like, oh, they're gonna go do a hate crime because they don't like a leftist online. A lot of times they just think they're cringe.
Well, someone did just do a hate crime against like shooting the two Jewish Messianic Jews.
And in the same
that's not too crazy to suggest anymore.
Way people have thought people were cringe on the internet always. But I guess the difference now is that these two spaces are interacting, and it's just
again. It's not the first time. It's just the last time this happened, you guys got the entire other side banned. And so now all that's left is everybody who pretty much is on the same side fighting over who's the big dog. Like not even the issues.
It feels weird. Like
if you guys actually cared about politics, you would let on all the you would let as crazy as it sounds, you'd bring the kill stream back on, you'd let him back on YouTube, you'd let all these guys back on YouTube. But they would, like, honestly, even if they were allowed, they probably wouldn't primarily stream there because there's already been all this work building like parallel infrastructure because you guys brought the need for it.
It's a probably weird position to be in.
It's shocking. Like Ethan is using fucking like clips and like rhetoric that I've heard over the past decade from.
Yeah, because it's true. It's true, and you're now having to face the fact that a guy who agrees with you on all this, so much of the gay shit that you guys believe about, like sexual politics and stuff, that all the arguments are coming from him too, because this was never about politics. Like people didn't, I don't like his politics and his change in politics, but to be real, people started hating Ian not because of politics, not because he stopped saying slurs, really. It's like the deeper issue is that he's not funny, he's not he's not entertaining, and he's inconsistent. And he clearly is like making poor decisions because he can't control his family. He can't control like his life.
From my haters, and I'm just like, oh, this is wild. Like, we are not, we're in a very different era, and I kind of forget that there is.
No, we're not. It's just that the criticisms were always valid. Just more people are using them now. That's all it is. It's just platform inflation. I said this before when Ethan put out the Instagram story where he pointed out how Ian allegedly lost his virginity to Anissa. I think there's two possibilities. Either that's true, or he actually still hasn't lost his virginity. But that's something that's been known. That's something that was in the thread Kiwi Farms like years ago.
Aspect of the internet winning the argument and who's like presenting a better case. I think a lot of those people are just silent, at most they're clicking like on a video, but they're not gonna, and who's like, but I think all of the people who are like, who's like literally winning the argument and who's like presenting a better case.
I think that most people decide who wins an argument purely by intuition, by like how it feels who's winning, and everyone feels like you're losing, and it's hard to come up with any cope otherwise.
A lot of those people are just silent, At most they're clicking like on a video, but they're not gonna.
What he's saying here is, it's like, to be fair, you need a very high IQ to understand why I'm winning.
Fucking put in like the labor to like make sure their guy wins or their girl
charged about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I see it at least.
Shout out FouseyTube. We love you.
What? Did he?
Okay,
wait, hold on. That was a wild fucking. You just shout out Fousey? Why? Why was this guy aligned with Fousey? I guess it's because Fousey's like pro-Palestine. Buddy, well, Fousey's gonna save the left sector.
To kind of freely talk about it.
We need a name for this left sector, because I always say like the sector on the left. It's got to be something else. Obviously, we have the sector, which is the sector. What is this? Just the brothel? Like I
on air in front of a live audience. It feels like I'm.
Yeah, I feel like it's
we can't even say it's like the synagogue, right? We can't even like do that trope because they're anti-Semitic now.
That's a very good instinct to have, to just not want to speak on things until you fully understand them. That's how I've always.
Yeah, you imagine that.
I don't like really going.
It's coming from the guy who, what was it, 2 days ago had a. Yeah, I know BreadTube is the term. I don't like BreadTube because BreadTube refers to a very specific book and set of ideologies that none of these people actually like. Yeah, sectard. Okay. Write that down. Chat, write that down. Sectard. That's going to be the term. When I'm king of the sector, I will put out a decree saying that the left sector is the sectards. The problem with BreadTube is that like it refers to a very specific book and ideology that none of these guys like have actually read or know anything about.
Going live and talking about things, or even like working through research on things, but just
also what I was saying before is this guy's talking about people shouldn't talk about stuff till they know about it. Meanwhile, 2 days ago he had that Houthi kid on and had to have some translator explaining like his Tuscan Raider language to him, and then couldn't even talk to him about the Houthis. He's just like, I can't give you an explication of my position because the FBI is coming for me, so I'm just gonna say I love Palestine.
Just in the last like week of stream, but beyond that, I don't know anything, and I want to learn about it. So like, let's learn about it. Or let's. I just did a stream where we did like a GeoGuessr thing. I don't know if you saw. Embarrassing. That's going on.
Well, I think that the sectard, the king of the sectard is Sultan Hassan.
Online and doing something I wouldn't do in a scripted video where I'm supposed to be smart, but in a lot of ways we aren't smart about
the sublime port
certain things. So I think it's a. I don't know. I think
it's good. It's very humanizing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like.
Okay. So that's our. I think that's everything I got for. Nothing else of that really matters. Here's another sec. So what time stamp are we at? We're at 1 minute or 1 minute. We're at 1 hour 30. Okay. Someone. So about half of that was Idubbbz, I would say. I wonder how long Kino Casino is going to spend on that, because there isn't that much. And I listened to more of that than I probably should. So now we're on to Ralph, and this won't take long because it's not. I mean, it's a big story in the sense that it's funny, but not that much happened. Basically, he just said that he got detained. At the border, and people were speculating that it had to do with the revenge porn thing, which I understand why people said that might happen, because it's just like the funniest theory, right? That it would be because of that. Sort of funniest. It's also not funny in the sense that he's on his way to his son's 4th birthday, and if the Vickers actually did get him arrested, I said this before, at least it wasn't when he was literally going to visit the kid and then you make Xander see his father get arrested. That would like be the billionth example of why the Vickers are worse than Ralph. But I don't think it was irrational for people to think that might have happened. Now, I don't think he's going to get charged. I don't think he would ever get convicted, and I'll explain why. But so he says this. He says he got stopped at the border, right? Bunch of people say that they believe it, and then I was merely pretending to be arrested at the border. After Jim says you have to go back, right? Says, I never thought I'd see the day when you'd be on the same level as Kinocopter, falling for the most obvious work of all time. Maybe you really are sick. Do you have a 257th final stream lined up for this weekend? Ricada Law told me it was legal. It's coming. Fucking based. What a king, man. This... Good job. I gotta hand it to him. I mean, obviously him saying that it's like a work is like, it's ridiculous. It's like, what kind of work? It's sort of like how the Columbia work was like, it was this masterfully planned work. I just didn't tweet for 3 days. Whereas this is like, the masterly planned work is to say, I got arrested. Then 3 hours later tweet, I didn't get arrested. But, yeah, I love that he makes a reference to the... I like he's completely owned the coming on the grave thing. As far as the 257th final stream for Jim, I'll talk about this briefly. I don't even know what to think about that, because on the one hand, yes, he's done like 200 final streams. He's literally said that he is supposed to be dead for 6 years. I think the first time he said that like this was going to be his last year, or that he was super sick, was in 2019. So it's been 6 years. And that's like really suspicious, right? Because there is a perverse incentive there. There is a money incentive there. When you're talking about how much everything costs, the medical bills, like you're trying to raise money for your wife and everything. I understand like why people point out the perverse incentive there. The problem is he did that whole stream where he showed all of his medical information. So like, how do you... Now, there was a period between when these claims first started and when he showed the medical information. And for that period, I could understand... Like, I had no issues with the he's faking it theory, because it's like, you know, it's not completely irrational. But now that he's shown all the paperwork, what's even happening? Like, I don't even know what to think, because it's like, there's all of this circumstantial evidence that it's fake. And again, I've said this before, but circumstantial does not mean necessarily you can convict in a court of law on circumstantial evidence. So don't just immediately say that when I say circumstantial, I mean it doesn't count. There's like all this circumstantial evidence that it's a grift, but then he shows like direct evidence that it's not. I guess it could be fake, but some of those documents he showed are like, it would be crazy to fake those. So I don't know. And so this guy, Kinocopter, who, it's a shame. You have to kind of use him and GNN for clips sometimes because he's on the ball. But to be clear, this guy has faked shit multiple times and should not be relied upon on really anything that he does not provide like direct evidence on. And there's some really gay, people forget it now because it's been so long, but there was some really gay shit that came out of him from the leaks, what was it? Post? No, not Post. Chudbuds. When Chudbuds got hacked and all the chats came out, there's also some crazy gayer ones in there too that are honestly even worse than Kinocopter. But yeah, I don't know. This guy, he can be useful sometimes, but I literally would not trust his judgment or anything he says that he does not have direct, he does not have photographic evidence on, as they say. So he says, you made up another fake news story. I figured it was better to make you look even worse than you already do with my own work. Yeah, honestly, him coming out and saying for sure that him being stopped at the border was the revenge porn thing was stupid. And obviously, saying like Ethan Ralph saying I'm arrested, then I'm not. It's a match to work. Like, that's silly too, right? It's not some super high IQ play. But why even... But when he comes out and he says he was arrested for... It's like, it indicates that he has some kind of like back-end info. And if he does, then he should show it, right? Just show your work, basically. And I'll talk about this briefly because it's going to be very boring. But I looked up the California Penal Code for revenge porn. And I'm just going to explain very quickly why I find it very unlikely that Ralph is going to get charged with revenge porn. So here are the elements. And these are each of these elements you have to prove, distinct elements you have to prove to a jury to convict. That's how criminal law works, beyond a reasonable doubt. You possessed an image or an intimate body part of an identifiable person or were engaged in sexual intercourse. You had a mutual understanding they would remain private. You intentionally distributed the image. You knew the distribution of the image would cause serious distress. The victim who was depicted actually suffered. So these two are easy. You just have Faith go up on the stand and whine. And this one's easy too because it already did cause distress in the last charge. The problem we have are this one. This is the biggest one we have a problem with. And to a lesser extent, this one. Because what he showed was a tweet. Now, generally in court, they view views as downloads. So like, for example, if you, what they'll say if you read court documents, if a video has 100,000 views, they'll say it has 100,000 downloads. And the reason why they do that is because they equate the view to possession. And it's not just like in stuff like child porn, it's all sorts of things. So I guess you could say that by him showing it, the view, it's a download. But this is a big problem. And I just want to show the incident. It's censored. Like I said, I have to use GNN for this because I don't have to, but it's like the quickest way. But this is not an avowal. And you know what's funny is Ralph is completely blasted in this clip. He doesn't know up from down. He doesn't know shit, right? And yet he makes a comment here that indicates that he understands the law of this better than most of the people commenting on it. So let's look. Because like I said, they'll have to prove that he intentionally distributed the image. Okay?
And I had people in my ear, and I'm not criticizing them, whatever. But they're like, yeah, go ahead and do it. And it's like, nah, I don't think so.
What he's talking about here, he's talking about something else.
So, that's what happened there. Now, could I have done that? Yeah, for sure. But like, it would have been retarded. So I didn't. You know, that's the whole thing. Ralph, take off screen. Oh, you mean Rambot? Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, I don't even know why that was on screen. Jesus Christ. So, like, people are, like, constantly trying to fuck me over. Now, of course, if you know the law, there's intent of the law.
Unironically, he knows what he, like, yeah.
If you intended.
I just think it's so funny because he's so drunk here and he immediately knows that. And he's completely right. Like, this is mens rea. The intentionality in a crime, like the mental element of a crime is called mens rea. And he doesn't have it here. And the way you know is how quickly he clicks off of it when he's informed. Like, how would you prove the intent here? Now, you may say, well, then why doesn't everyone just do stupid shit and say it was an accident? Well, because you can prove circumstantially, and this is why I say circumstantial evidence is admissible in court, that it was intentional. The problem is all the circumstantial evidence in this clip goes against that. It goes towards the idea it was an accident. Because he did take it off the minute he was informed. And then he did talk about how, like, you know, he was just looking at, like, Rand's Twitter. He just brought it up or whatever.
To do that. I didn't tend to do that. So,
Now, is this still a massive fuck up? Yes. Is this funny? Yes. Should Ralph continue on his kingly way? Yes. But as far as fulfilling the mens rea element of this, I just don't see it. There's just, again, the circumstantial evidence in the clip itself does not speak towards it being intentional. Now, what some might say is, well, look at the rest of the stream, right? They'd say, look at him talking shit. Look at, like, all this, him talking shit about Faith. So he was already having all these bad feelings about Faith. Now, that would have to be fought at an evidentiary level. What one side would probably, it was a copyright. That is my favorite Ralph argument. I remember reading that and I was just like, it's a copyright dispute, bitch. But anyway, there would be a dispute over whether the rest of the stream would be admissible. There's a principle in evidence law called that you don't allow any evidence that's more prejudicial than probative. And the fact is that showing most of the rest of this stream where he's like drunk and talking shit and stuff could be argued that it's more prejudicial than probative. That basically the only reason the prosecution wants it in is to show the jury that Ralph, is acting like a drunk idiot or whatever. It doesn't actually speak towards his intent in that moment, right? Now, the counter argument to that would be, well, we need to know what was going on in his mind proximately to when he showed it, and it's him talking shit about faith. What the way that would go, I think, would be determined by how soon before this incident was he talking shit about faith. If it's literally like 1 minute, they'd probably let that in. If it's an hour, probably not. Then it would be more prejudicial than probative. But if it's just this clip that would get submitted, I think he wins. I think he wins to the extent they don't even charge him, like in the first place. Like the filing, like the way it works at a DA's office is that the police the investigative detective writes a police report, talks to all the witnesses, talks to everything, puts it together, it goes to the filing DA. The filing DA looks at it, looks at basically this, looks at the code, and then determines whether it's worth charging. What's their chances of winning? And specifically, what's their chances of winning without going to trial? Because the DA never wants to go to trial because it's expensive, it's long, it's annoying. Unless it's, like a keystone case and you're trying to prove something or affect your career or whatever. And it's like, there's a filing DA who has to look at this clip in on a CD because they're still using fucking DVDs at the LA DA's office. It's on a DVD. Does he put it in his computer and then watch this 1 minute clip and is just like, yeah, that was totally intent. This is part of Ralph totally was trying to show this. He totally had intent. I don't think so. And I don't think he even thinks to himself, well, maybe he was, let's just put it through anyway. I don't think that happens. Now, it's possible he got stopped at the border for something else. But yeah, it's people jumping on this. I understand people wanting to create a narrative, right? They want to say, it's really funny. Yeah, that poor bat. Don't even think about that. The filing DA has to watch the uncensored version of that clip. It's tough. They're on the mental battlefields, the fatigue. This is why lawyers have such high alcoholism rate. But yeah, I understand people wanting to run with a narrative. He's going to get arrested for revenge porn, but I just don't see it. And if it does, it'd be Ralph should take it to trial, because I think that you could just go up there and make that argument, and you'd have to fight the evidence. You'd have to fight the evidentiary battle about keeping the rest of the stream and everything. And Ralph has a better in-court win percentage than Rekieta. He has more court experience than Rekieta. So if the esteemed Esquire Ralph says that he's going to win, he's going to win. I don't know anything about this. All I know is that Becky apparently has been fired for the billionth time. Obviously, this is fake. Obviously, this is a narrative from Keemstar trying to distract from the fact that he was revealed to not only be a cuck, but a cucked by women and by a arrested divorcee kid behind a camera. I'll say this, guys. I'm trying to work something. I'm trying to weasel my way in, because if I could get a call in on Locale Live, and I know you have to pay, so I'm not going to pay. I'm hoping to get gifted a membership. I'm going to call in and ask one question. Because Keem is very careful about who he lets call in. He only lets babies, retards, autists call in that he can just ragdoll. I want to ask one question. And if I can just get the question out, there's no way he can win. And it's, has your wife ever had sex with someone other than you after the date of your marriage? And no matter what he says, it's over. Because if he says yes, and then tries to cope about how it's actually based to get cucked by women, if anything, I think it's worse to get cucked by a woman. It's like, really, dude? You can't even outcompete a woman? She don't even have a dick. What the fuck? If he says yes and then copes about his threesome 14-year-old fantasy, lost. If he says no, then everybody in his, to get the easy win is going to post the clips and shit about about him admitting, literally directly admitting it. And, the whole Keemcock thing with links. And if he just kicks me, that's the worst option. Then it's like, okay, confirmed, and you can run with whatever narrative you want.
I called into.
So I think that this is fabricated. This whole look at his eyes here. This whole narrative with firing Becky for the billionth time is literally just a sweet job over the cuck narrative.
The show to address them making the jokes about Roxy's husband almost dying, which is so fucking uncool. And they wouldn't let me talk. The reason why we're going to talk
They
about.
wouldn't let me talk. You own all these people. You've made them all give up all their equity for everything. You're their slave master, and they won't let you talk.
In length on today's show is because you kept interrupting me on your show. So now we're going to talk about it here where you can't interrupt me. If you would have just let me settle it and say my piece on Queens last night, we wouldn't have to do all this. Let me lay down some ground.
But you want to do this. You want to cover all this stuff multiple times because they're all your show and you make money from all of them. Like, who falls for this?
Work. Roxy's crying. Her husband almost died. She doesn't know anything. She's in the fucking hospital. He's in the ER and they're fucking, doing work on him. She's crying. She's panicking. Her entire family is worried about what's going on. Queens had a title and a thumbnail praying for Roxy. So Roxy's family said, oh my God, look, Roxy's fellow employees are praying for her. And they click on the video and what do they see? They see this. This is Roxy's family seeing this shit.
If Roxy's husband has to wear a shit bag, can we call him Winnie, like Winnie the Pooh?
What the guy almost died. It was only like 4 hours later that he was taken to in an ambulance.
This is the guy who had a fat camp where there was apparently like orgies going on, his wife getting fingered, they shaved Becky's hair off, and Wings pushed his wife, and now he's clutching his pearls because on a show about talking shit about everybody in its orbit, someone talks shit.
Ambulance to the hospital.
Now, Colin, do you know how much shit exploded inside him?
Stop it! Stop it, Dina! How much shit? Was he full of shit like Roxy?
Roxy almost loses her husband. The title and thumbnail is pray for fucking Roxy. And this is what's being said when Roxy's family, her husband's family, clicks on the video to see them praying. Rastov, this hit close to home for
your co-host, Fake Cancer.
For you, right?
Yeah, to be honest, watching the shit again is kind of pissing me off. I don't really like trauma dumping too much, but this is literally how my mum died. She had lung cancer. She was on experimental treatment, and the cancer treatment caused the bowel to perforate because she was so sick.
Again, this is just like what I was explaining in my locale video. Their audience has moved so far to like the normie middle-aged women's sphere that there's just certain topics they have to like. A lot of people think his wife lesing out is king shit. Yeah, because they're 14. That's why I call it like a 14-year-old's attitude. Like, that's what you think when you're 14 is that, dude, what if I could like have this hot young wife and then also bang any girl I want and get to like have these cool threesomes? That's what you think. Then you become like an actual man who's like the head of his household and you realize that's the stupidest shit ever. Actually, what I want to have is a family and children who have equal, like my wife has an equal investment in raising. And I don't want to involve a whole bunch of like harem Turkish bullshit. That's like what happens when you pass, like, that's what happens when you graduate high school for most people. And so no, I want him to make him say, yes, I've been cucked by a woman. I've been cucked by someone who can't even have sex with another woman because they don't have a penis.
Sick, they couldn't do anything about it, so she literally just died. So like making tasteless jokes. Like
as far as this whole shit, again, they're clutching their pearls over these jokes. Meanwhile, co-host Fake Cancer, and the reason they are is because the audience demo has moved so far from we want this to be a show about torturing a bunch of lol cows to this is like lol cow therapy redemption hour.
Like this, because it's a fucked up way to go, because a lot of the time the doctors can't do anything about it. Like sometimes you have to just wait and see. Sometimes they have to do surgery. Like it's
Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Is this who they got to replace Wings? This is the Aussie guy, right? How is this? I said this in the last one. The show is big enough. It makes enough money. You could pull actual lol cows to replace Wings. You could get A-tier lol cattle to come in here. You could get Ethan Ralph in here. You could probably get him to be the other co-host on the show, and it would be entertaining as fuck. But no, you can't control Ethan Ralph, and Ethan Ralph isn't acceptable to the female, mostly middle-aged, non-married female audience that is now the audience for the show. So instead, you get this totally inoffensive literal who to come in here and clutch his pearls as Keem snaps his finger.
Man,
yeah, Wings decided to move his wife against her will 5 feet.
I've just written the show off, man. I don't give a fuck about these cunts anymore.
This was so fucking insanely offensive to so many fucking people that Queens lost something like 50 different members. They canceled their subscription.
We have a culture of dragging each other here, and it's fun sometimes.
Exactly. He wants someone he can control. He wants leverage. Exactly.
But we also try to be a community, and I've helped Becky.
It's funny too because he could have got leverage over Ralph. Like, look at Ralph with the whole Nick Fuentes arc and everything. Like, you can get leverage over Ralph if you can offer him a platform and money. And yeah, you're not going to control him forever, but for the months that he's there, it's going to be fucking Keno content with him and Boogie and Keen. And the thing is, like I said, the expectations that us in the sector have on a show like this is total shit show, people screaming at each other, Kino, IBS type stuff. The expectations that their new middle-aged unmarried female audience is, oh, I pity these little boys who I need to protect and nurture, and Keen's gonna save them and be a big man. Yeah, move this. I know, I was kidding when I said that. But we need to protect him and everything, and then it just becomes therapy every week, and it's all this shit. So it's like, of course they can't have Ralph. Because if there's anything that like a unmarried middle-aged female audience would hate, it's like woman herder of the decade, Ethan Ralph.
I've helped Queens. I've helped Tina. They've helped us. That's the community we're trying to build here. And I get it. It's fun to make jokes at other people's expense, and we will do that all day. But I'd like to think...
Yeah, that's what Wings is like. Wings is like, well, because of the orbit of the Earth around the sun, we're all really moving, and it was gravity, Your Honor. Let me look at this equation, Your Honor. E equals MC gun.
I think that if Brantley was in the hospital, we'd all have enough sense to not joke about that. If Desi was in the hospital, I think we would all have enough sense not to joke about that.
It's not about in the hospital. He could have died. You know what I mean? It's like...
I have fought off sepsis 3 times.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up, Boogie. You fought off sepsis because God wants you to live as a burning cross on the lawn of the entire internet about what not to be.
And I barely made it all 3 times. And I got handed a $100,000 bill once because of fighting this off. This is a life-changing moment in Roxy's life, and don't you fucking forget it.
There was
oh my God.
no humanity shown here at all.
I'm almost tapping out, guys.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, like cracking jokes like this. Becky and Tina, guys, listen, if your fucking show and your thumbnail is titled Praying for fucking Roxy, and you know that the husband was septic, I don't want to hear, oh, we didn't know how serious it was. You're just lying. You're flicking off your audience. You think your audience is fucking stupid. You think you
Keem saying someone's lying.
You can feed them some bullshit line, like, oh, I didn't know how serious this videos from the fucking hospital. I don't think she's lying.
He had a smell from all the way from the rooter to the tutor.
Stop it! I can't.
Situation. Yes, I know it's like
very, very serious.
Word for word, you said it right there that you knew.
Yep.
Hi. So when the stream...
He should have brought Ralph in as a heel and had an arc where they defeat him and he gets fired after a few months. Well, yeah, I mean, that would have been better than what we got. Imagine Ralph at Fat Camp. Imagine that. That would have been fucking wild because he would have brought his whole bag of goodies, you know? Imagine Boogie passing out on Xanax and he doesn't wake up. Credits roll. PvP also fought off sepsis. Yeah, well, that's how you know it's not that hard to fight off.
Stream started, I did not know he was septic. I found out during the stream. So it's fine to hate on me all you want for this. I deserve it. I went too far yesterday. But also, can you not lie about me while you're doing it?
But you say right in the clip that you know it's a life or death situation.
I found out after the stream started from the chat, from what the chat said. I had no fucking clue. I thought this was like when Brenda went to the hospital.
Really? That's what you're going... That's the problem, too, is Becky's like mega... Well, obviously, she's just following the script here. That's why she's picking the worst way to respond to this. She was smart. She'd just go in there and be like, yeah, Keem, I'm making us money. I'm shaking my ass saying crazy shit online. That's the whole show. But she can't say that, right? Because then it would point out like a hypocrisy in Keemstar. She's got to fit into the script. And again, I actually don't really have a problem with scripts, with Keem running a fake show. Like, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, theater exists. We all love Shakespeare. That's fake. That's all scripted. Okay, it can speak truth abstractly, even though it's not. It can be true and not factual, is what I'm saying. But if the scripts fucking suck and only serve to self-aggrandize Keemstar in a way we've already seen a million times, well, then there's a problem.
For her appendix, and everyone was making all fucking jokes about it. I did not know. Once I started this stream, I saw people saying in the side.
Did you stop making jokes after you found out, like, at this point, then there's no more jokes after this?
Yeah, this is why you shouldn't go this way, because, yeah.
Jokes
obviously.
throughout the stream until I saw it hurt Rocks. Okay, Rassel, stop being so smug. As soon as I saw...
Look, I'm just asking a question based on what you fucking said.
You're just saying when you found out it was sepsis, you said it was serious.
Look at his eyes. You can tell that he just doesn't believe anything he's saying. Like, he is just straight up reading a script.
You stopped joking. So we're asking, did you actually stop?
You had no idea. And then they told you, and you carried on. So, like, what is it? Which is it?
Real quick, look, I do appreciate that you apologize, and you're trying to make it right with Roxy. I know this...
She sounds like PWR. You know, I was thinking about calling into PWR, but... Because, like I said, I'm trying to... my number one is I want to somehow weasel my way into calling into this just to ask Keem the cut question. The other one is I thought about calling into PWR. The problem with PWR is, like, what do you even say? There's only 2 directions to go, right? Either you ball wash him, and then it's basically a gay op, and it's just lame, right? No one wants to see that. Or you come in hot, and the problem is that this guy is just, like, an autistic retard, constantly 2 seconds away from a meltdown. So like it's like beating a baby. Like what's the point? Like that's also not interesting. I listened to some of the like streams when people were first going over to him. People call him gay or whatever, and it's just lame. It's not that interesting.
This comes across like we're beating a dead horse.
Someone see the new stream? I haven't. Didn't he talk about Ralph and DSP? He's like trying to revive. It's because he's like lost a lot of the Kino Casino bump, and so now he's like trying to reheat old drama, where he's like the perspective of a DSP fan, and isn't he like talking about their call, like their them doing the wrestling show like 2 months ago?
But I'm going to go through it because you wouldn't let me talk on your show yesterday. So I'm going to do it on my show. That's fair.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying don't fucking lie about it while you do it.
What's the lie?
You can go about it all you want. I don't fucking care.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
Rostov, I'm not talking to you. I know you guys are milking me for content.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
Yeah, where's the lie? Where's the lie?
Walk us through the lie.
When he said, I knew it was sexist and he's fucking dying. I didn't know he was dying. And guess what? He's not dead. He's here. Jesus Christ, can we please keep things in perspective?
And then you found out and carried on. So like it invalidates literally what you just said.
We're not talking about you or your mom.
I'm not talking about me. This is not about me. This is not about me. This is literally about what you are saying and what you said in the clip. You said no. Your whole thing.
Why am I so retarded? You gotta be a little retarded to be king of the sector though, guys. So what is his channel called? It's PWR, isn't it? Dude, YouTube hates this guy. They really don't want him to be here. I'm gonna look for this not on the main screen.
Thing is, you didn't know how serious it was, and then you found out how serious it was, and you carried on. So your fucking argument doesn't make sense because you instantly fucking went against your own argument. Try again.
Listen, Rostov.
I am listening. You're literally. Oh my god, you're so stupid.
Talking. Shut the fuck up. If I saw the second I saw it upset Roxy, I was sorry to Roxy. If it pissed you off, Rostov, I'm sorry.
This is not about me. This isn't about me. This is about you saying that your justification was that you didn't understand the severity of it, and then you found out the severity, and you carried on.
Dude, if you didn't,
people still make jokes. It's jokes. What mattered is if it was serious to Roxy.
Do you literally believe the own bullshit coming out of your mouth?
Excuse me. Can I ask you a question? Let me just ask you the most simple question.
Am I going to be able to answer, or should I just save it for Queen?
Wait, are you mad that you're being interrupted? This is what you did on my show, on your show.
What, Keem? I didn't hear you.
Are you mad that you're being interrupted? This is what you did to me on your show.
Yep.
It's not that. I don't mind if I'm being interrupted with a purpose.
Okay, Becky. Here's the thing. The title and thumbnail was praying for Roxy, and
husband, I did.
You're derailing. I have you dead to rights.
This is all so fake and gay. I hate this. This is the best dispute he could come up with like Becky that he could write into the script. Is that she's talking shit online, which is the whole show, and then has her come in here and make the worst possible argument, which is I didn't know this was happening. Really? Is it okay? Fuck this. I don't care about this. I thought this was gonna be more interesting. Fuck Locale Live. I fell for it again in World. I dare cover something related to Locale Live again, and it's stupid. Okay. Apparently this is a story where Stick says he gets beat up. Again, this is Kino Casino is also covering this tonight. I expect them to get to this in about 5 hours, and they'll probably spend 3 hours on this 1 minute.
Crazy day the other day.
Let me make sure the sound's okay.
I played mini golf, actually, and I won, and it was funny. My niece challenged me to mini golf. Here were the terms. If I win, she has to take the ice bucket challenge. There were a couple of other terms that I just dropped afterwards because I'm like, I am winning against a little kid. If she had won, I would have had to stop dressing as a pirate for 2 whole weeks.
They're begging. Even the children, even the child family members are begging. They're like, you'd think it'd be the kid who wants him to dress like a pirate, right? Because they have a childlike mentality. But even the children are like, please stop being a retarded schizo Satanist.
I would have been, massively upset. Thankfully, I prevailed. Then I had a hot dog.
Congrats, bro.
And so it was a great day. And then she repeatedly punched me in frustration.
Beat up.
She knows I'm the only one. She can get away with that kind of behavior only with me. So she...
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Tends to take...
So you're the only one she's not afraid of, that she has no respect for? Probably because you're dressed like a pirate, and that's why she doesn't want you to do that anymore.
out any aggression on me.
It's funny that his niece has a more of a like high class expectation for her family than Styx does, despite the niece being a child. That the niece is like, you're making making it look bad.
And so it's sort of a double sword. I find it amusing.
Hey, dude, I guarantee you that on Kino Casino, the Styx segment's going to be like an hour. I just want this one clip. That's it.
It's just not actually. I mean, I do have a couple of bruises. She can throw a good punch, but it was pretty funny. So now the next time that there's a hot, sunny day, she has to take the Ice Bucket Challenge, and it is going to be hilarious.
So she gets to beat you up, and all she has to do is do the Ice Bucket Challenge from 15 years ago? Dude, she probably wasn't even alive when the Ice Bucket Challenge was a thing.
I'm going to chill the shit out of that water until it's almost solidified. There's going to be like this, it's going to be like pouring a slushy.
But yeah, it is funny that the child has more concern for the like honor of her family than Styx does. Only someone like this was in Josh's house.
On her. So, yeah, haha.
Then he would have gone somewhere else than the 99-cent store for his cheese.
Loser.
No, because he's white, so they can't recast him as Styx.
Shabisky Madisky, tired of your pirate ass.
And then super chats are shitting on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna carry that pirate hat.
I like the pirate thing. I don't know. I think I look cool. So does everyone else at her school, by the way, which is hysterical.
Which means the opposite, right?
I'm the odd relative.
I'll say him being like, I don't care what anyone thinks it looks like, I think it looks cool, is there's like a little bit of virtue to that. The problem is that when you are like dishonoring your entire family and you have stole a picture of a gay owl in the background and you say that you cast spells, it's like it's time to it's time to say hello to Mr. Pyre, you know?
I'm the one that can get away with humiliating younger members of the family.
No, you can get away with humiliating yourself. All right, there we go. That's all we really need to see about Wings. And this is Bossman Jack getting arrested, which apparently just happened. 07's for Bossman Jack. He's our prince. He's going out. Hold on.
Donnie was a good bowler. And a good man. He was one of us. He was a man who loved the outdoors and bowling. And as a surfer, he explored the beaches of Southern California.
He explored the meth of Virginia.
From La Jolla to Leo Carrillo and up to Pismo. He died as so many young men of his generation before his...
He was arrested like so many crackheads of his generation before he hit it big.
In your wisdom, Lord, you took him. As you took so many bright, flowering young men at Quezon, at Londoc, at Hill 364. These young men gave their lives. So did Donnie. Donnie who loved bowling.
Boss man who loved crack and gambling.
And so...
It's so tough, dude. Hold on here, I'm trying to find the part of the song that I'm looking for. Was Donnie even in on? Yeah, fuck yeah. Are you kidding me? He's a pacifist. He was a pacifist before Nam, though. Ooh. Oh, no wonder it's not giving me the song I want. Of course Donnie was in Nam. Where is... Here it is.
The taint of disgrace will follow her to her grave. future generations will revile her. In America, as a despicable traitor with no sense of honor.
As a despicable gambling crackhead with no sense of honor.
And in Russia, as a monster who unleashed a nuclear catastrophe. To know the truth.
I don't know about the watermarks.
She wanted to live
This is just
on.
what was on the front page of Kiwi Farms, I'll be real.
That's why she.
Oh shit, my dog. Okay. Oh my god.
Snake.
Guys. Oh shit. The fucking boys are here, guys. I'm gotta go. I'm being arrested, guys. Not kidding, guys.
No one.
Oh my god, bro.
The truth.
I gotta go, guys.
Her story.
I love you guys.
Her
They're here, guys. I'm fucking having cold chills right now.
Will endure only.
Love you guys, man. I'll be back. Fuck, dude.
Everything she did for her country. She sacrificed
Go,
her
guys.
life and
I
her
love you
honor
guys.
for her native land.
They're here, guys. I'm fucking having cold chills right now.
She was a real
Love you
hero.
guys, man. I'll be back. Fuck, dude.
She was a true patriot.
They're here, guys. I'm fucking having cold chills right now. Love you guys, man. I'll be back. Fuck, dude.
Where's the song, though? Where's the... you know what I'm looking for, right? See, this is what happens when you don't memorize every song name to all your favorite video games, is you can't immediately find the shit you want. There we go.
Oh shit, my dog. Okay. Oh my god. Guys. Oh shit. The fucking boys are here, guys. I'm fucking gotta go. I'm getting arrested, guys. Not kidding, guys. Oh my god, bro. I gotta go, guys. I love you guys. They're here, guys. I'm fucking having cold chills right now. Love you guys, man. I'll be back. Fuck, dude.
Oh, this day will be remembered for all of history. The great sacrifice Bossman's made for the sector, smashing his keyboard, beating up his brother, beating up his dad, losing $1 million, winning $1 million, breaking down his door, all for entertainment, all for the sector. Who other than Ralph himself has put more on the line for us than Bossman Jack? And here they are. The Biden regime is here to take him away from us.
Oh my god. Guys. Oh shit. The fucking boys are here, guys. I'm fucking gotta go. I'm getting arrested, guys. Not kidding, guys. Oh my god, bro. I gotta go, guys. I love you guys. They're here, guys. I'm fucking having cold chills right now. Love you guys, man. I'll be back. Fuck you.
Everyone get out your crack pipe. Light up for Bossman. Free Bossman. All right. And we have concepts and models of escalation. All right. So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is Morrowind is downloaded. OpenMW is downloaded. It's all set up. The bad news is that the best Vanilla Plus mod set has not been updated for the latest version of Tamriel Rebuilt. And so they say that it's not going to be updated till June 1st. So let's look at the calendar here. This is not the calendar. What the fuck is wrong with Windows? You can't just click on the... Okay, sorry. All right. So that's a Sunday. So Monday the 2nd, Morrowind will occur. I promise. And it'll have a giant Vanilla Plus mod set with OpenMW. I'm thinking we're playing in Mage. I'm thinking. I know everybody comes for the gameplay. Everybody is here to hear me talk about Elder Scrolls lore for 6 hours. That's the cream content. Oh, one last thing. Stealing the Housemeister goat. Yeah, I'm a leech, bud.
Know whether she consents to it.
All right, I'm not saying watch this. All I'm seeing, I want to see where they are in their segment.
Like a pair.
So they're doing JF.
But don't worry.
Nothing JF has done other than him calling into that housewife show has been worth coverage. Okay, so have they even talked about Idubbbz yet? That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so we covered Idubbbz goes full terrorist, Hassan versus ADL, Bread Tube crumbling. I didn't do Ricada Karaoke because it's nothing, and I'm not doing JF because that's still developing. There might be JF coverage in the future. We did all of this. Before they even started talking about it. Okay? So, ask yourselves, why go to Kino Casino where you have to listen to 30 minutes of intro and an hour of begging when you can just come here at 5 and get all the coverage in literally in ninth of the time? Okay, do the value judgment in your head. Okay, people are talking about how much they work, how hard it is to do stuff. Get more for less. The only reason you would come here, okay, the only reason you would come here is because you're here for them, their personalities. And anyone who's going to say that, I want you to understand what that means. That means that you are here not because you want the latest drama stuff, but it's because you want Andy Worski. You want to get aimed. You want to have abort your son. Or you're here for PPP and you have sepsis. You already don't. I know. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing the value judgment out there because this is how you win. This is how you beat these guys. This is how you starve them out, is you provide a better product earlier and you target that. That's how the sector has always worked, is you steal the audience of somebody else. Why do you think I call into Housemeister? Okay. All right. But that's going to be it. Morrowind will occur, and it's going to be epic. Oh, actually, wait. One more thing. Sorry, I know I said that twice. Here's the PWR thing. I just want to see what the fuck this even is. Like, what he's going to say here.
I've said a lot already. And the issue is, I don't think there's been a dedicated location, segment, or whatever for me to just...
Okay, so this is just reheated. This is just him covering the wrestling show. No, they don't want... Okay, no, okay. I disagree. I think that what it is it's exactly what I said. If all you care about is just getting the latest coverage on... trying to poke his motives... Well, that's true. That's a good point. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'm just saying that if assuming if you're there for having a parasocial friendship with Worski and PPP, then you'll put up with the 9 hours of bullshit because you're not actually there to get the drama coverage. If you're here, if you just want the drama coverage in as concise way as possible, that's still somewhat entertaining. That's my value proposition. As far as most of them turned out to be, yeah, you kind of got me there. I don't want that.
I was really excited. Now, I'm a little scattered.
So I think this is reheated. Again, the thing with PWR is like basically this guy just got invented by the Kino Casino so that they basically completely astroturfed this guy because they knew that he was not stable enough to deal with the attention and then just let like the fallout occur. And that's why I haven't called in, because it's like there's only two things you can do when you call in. You either play nice with him, which is boring and nothing happens, or you're mean to him, which is like beating it like puppy, and I don't want to do that.
A fan of Ralph. Man, he wouldn't even read my chats whenever.
Ralph wouldn't even. So this is who we have coming in to complain about Ralph. This is why you can't go full Ralph A-Log. I mean, I'm not defending Ralph, like some of the shit Ralph does, but you can't go like super obsessive because then you turn into
super
this.
chats whenever I would send him in.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to get into that. I think so much of this is based on appreciating your community. You know, some of these people didn't get wind of this. Waiting for me, no. I think this is when I did that Kino Casino sim stream where I burned the casino down and all that stuff. I think it was around the same time that this took place. But I remember, you know, some of the hardcore...
So this is him just reheating this. I don't think this is worth going over. I think this is just going to be him talking about the same things that he's talked about for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, that's the problem. Like the whole inventing lolcows thing. It's funny. They criticize Keem for all the like script writing and shit, but Keem does the same. But they do the same thing as far as so like Keem has his Discord, the lolcow Discord, right? And again, I've never been in it because I don't want to give him money, right? But from what I've seen, from when I did watch the show, he essentially filters the most dysfunctional lolcowish type people onto the call-ins, so that they can be like squeezed or squozen, some might say, for content. And that's essentially kind of what KC did with PWR. My problem with that, it's less like a moral issue. You could get into that. It's more just, I want the people who get involved in this shit to do it because they want to, not because they were like tricked into it. And when people's motivations are sincere and authentic, they make better content. And they're funnier and they're more interesting. Like Bossman didn't have to get tricked into smoking crack. Bossman didn't have to get tricked into becoming a gambling addict. Bossman didn't have to get tricked into fighting his brother or hitting his wall and stuff. All you had to do was sit back and watch the show and let it happen. Just want endless rambling to listen to at work for hours? I guess so. But yeah, okay. I promise more when they finally update Tamriel Rebuilt. There'll be a video every day because I like cut everything up, and there should be one video, one VOD every day for like ever over Saturday, Sunday. Except for I will not be streaming the 30th, or I guess I won't be streaming the 2nd because I'm going on a trip. I have to go visit the Jambas. I'm just kidding. Don't take that as a threat. But I'll be in Seattle, basically, is what I'm saying. I'll take some photos about what their free drug policy has done to that place. Dick's out for Boss Man.